What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Rated G podcast. I'm your host, G. Derrado. For those of you who are new here, welcome to the show where I like to sit down and talk about just about anything related to art and creativity, as well as other things happening in life. And I usually feature other local artists, creatives, small business owners, with the goal in mind to help promote their brand, as well as like just sitting down and talking shop, getting to know them better. So if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe, wherever you're tuning in. Ring the notification bell, that way you can keep up with the uploads. Share with a friend who's like into this stuff. And actually, more importantly, I'd say, is to leave comments, whether it's, any thoughts, questions. Hell, I'm even open to criticism, constructive criticism. So, yeah, and be sure to visit down below where I provide links to social media, main websites for myself and for my guests, in case you want to come join us on our journey. But yeah, let's get after it, because there's a lot there's a lot going on this episode. But I first want to actually start off by saying, so this segment right here, right now, what you are listening or watching, this is recorded after my sit down with my guest. Usually I kind of do it the other way around, right? I like to do this segment before I bring in the guest, or rather when I have my conversation with the guest. But I don't know. Yes, like which was recorded last night. I don't know. Something about yesterday, things kind of fell out of my hands. So if the episode feels, I don't want to say wonky, but like, I don't know. It's like it's a different vibe. I feel like it was a different vibe than usual. Also, there's a time difference between me and the guest. We got like the 3 hour difference, which is not uncommon, but I don't know. I guess it's just been it's been a while since I've recorded at night, and this one was like a long session, so like we were both tired. I'm actually more tired today because of how late I ended up being up last night. But anyway, I'm not trying to, I don't want to like discourage you from listening to the conversation, because it was a lot of fun, and we got pretty deep. So anyway, I don't want to go down that route just yet, because there is something that really caught my attention on social media. I came across this post. It's like one of those artist daily posts, or something or other, and it was a video of uh to this day I don't know what to call these type of artists, but they do I'll call it fluid art. It's when artists do like the pour painting, and you get like the really cool, like these like abstract, you know, results. Like I don't want to say pour painting, because it sounds like I don't want to create confusion of like poor as in like homeless or unhoused, as opposed to like just when they stack up the paint in the cup and then they pour it on a canvas, like that kind of paint. So I want to say fluid art is the more correct term for it. But so there's a video of one of these types of artists, but this one in particular, and I've seen this going around. I don't know if it's the same guy, but he has like a bucket full of the paint, and it's tied to his string, and because he makes these uh very large scale paintings with this method. So he's got a bucket full of paint tied to this this rope, and he kind of just swings it around. It's kind of like a pendulum, and it just creates these very neat like patterns. How the paint drips down and pours down onto the canvas. It makes really cool, visuals. But in the caption of the post, it was asking like um it was that the question was asking, do you like abstract art? And I kind of I don't know, I kind of put in my 2 cents about whether you can even consider this like art, honestly. This is pretty controversial um because maybe I should pull out the comment and I'll make sure I include the clip here. Actually, maybe I'll play the clip first and I'll make sure I include it in the cut here. Um, but so in the caption it says, "Are you a fan of um abstract art?" Uh, but right off the top in the video, it says, "This happens when the artist loosens up." Now, I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to try to be as descriptive as I can be for just the listeners. Okay. So, as I said before, the artist has this large canvas laid out. Um, he's like adding the black paint to the entire backdrop, right? And then he preps the bucket full of all the colors tied to the string, and then he just kind of releases it and he, he just lets the thing do its, whatever. Um, so he does like one swing where it's just white paint creating this really cool line art, line work. I don't know, just letting it drip. And then he does another round where he's got paint full of color, and then same thing. And he does this, throughout the video. You see all different approaches where in the second cut, he's got the canvas now spinning, and then he kind of uh just pours the paint onto the canvas and just lets the pattern creates itself. Um and then and then he's got this like star canvas, same thing, it's spinning, it's rotating, and he's just pouring the paint onto it. uh I mean, look, right? Visually, I think it's really cool. You know, it's pretty trippy. The star kind of gives me the Pink Floyd. What's that album? With the triangle. Jeez, I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan, but I mean, if you're familiar with Pink Floyd, I mean, I think you might know what I'm getting at with the album art, but the triangle, and it's got like the rainbow, I believe. But anyway, um, so yeah, I mean, again, I think it looks cool. It certainly, um, you know, pulls out a reaction out as like, oh, like, you can sort of find yourself in awe at, watching the performance of it, and like maybe that's what it is for this kind of art, is sort of the performance of it. But like just me being kind of I don't know, literal or pragmatic or what, but it's just like, all right, does this really count as being loose? Because, you know, you kind of do a couple of things and then you kind of just let uh gravity do its thing. Um Physics. I don't know, like now I probably sound like an arrogant asshole, but so anyway, now what did I say in the comments exactly? Uh because someone did respond to it, which I thought was interesting. Um, so yeah, I commented, and apparently some people agreed. And like this is just an opinion of mine, so you know whether or not you feel differently, like that's cool, right? We're allowed to agree to disagree and have different opinions, right? But I commented, I enjoy abstract art, but this kind of approach lacks soul. With most abstract art, I believe you can actually see the art language within the strokes, the paintbrush strokes. And then I ended it with here, physics seems to take over the creativity, in my honest opinion. And then somebody like another artist or hobbyist, he said, um actually there was a couple of comments I didn't realize. But where is the one? Did he delete his comment? Um, all right, well, I'm not seeing it here, so this is interesting. Um, huh. Well, anyway, so this one artist was like, "Are you?" He's like, stroke. He's like, language within the strokes. Are you having a stroke?" And I said, and I was like, and then I replied back, if that makes you, well, I kind of I was like, if that makes you feel good, sure, my friend. And then, yeah, I think it's either he deleted his comments or the poster, uh, deleted his comments. But then he said something back, and then I left the thumbs up emoji, and then another commenter said, "That's fair," because like it's true. Like aside from blackening the canvas and then doing the job setup with the bucket and then filling it up with the paint and all that. I mean, once the artist releases the bucket, like everything else takes its own course. Like, like I said, physics takes over and just, you know, does its thing with the bucket. The guy's not particularly doing anything with it. And then like the same thing with his other approach where he has the canvas on the spinner. He's just, it's just the pouring process, which again, this is controversial because there's a lot of fluid artists that, it's a very similar approach. They layer up the paint, that they put in the cup or whatever they're using to pour onto the canvas. But then there's also other stuff that they do. I forget what the the medium or like the chemical that they use to make these like cool spots within, because you like if you're familiar with the like this form of art, it's not just like splattered or like just paint that's been shifted around. Like there's like these cool spots in it, these like blotches, and they use something to make that cool thing, those that to make that look. So at least like there's sort of, there's a little bit of um, there's decision making there, right? And a lot of our creative process is making such decisions. Um, so that's like the only thing I could say in that execution. But with this, it's like, not so much, right? And again, this is my opinion. This is how I look at it. Um, but it like that is some, I'm asking you guys, the audience, like, if you're familiar with this type of art, like, do you consider that art? Because like I understand art can be anything that will invoke something within the viewer, the audience, right? It could take them down some sort of memory lane because of the color palette or the patterns that were created. It might remind them of something in the past or something they're experiencing. Like, so I get that, right? Like that's what art does. But on the other hand, I also believe in it's how it's done. Like, almost again, I said performative earlier. Um, there's something to be um recognized with how art is also made. Like even just in the act of making art is an art form itself, if that makes any sense. Um, so that's why I'm like, the the artist in this situation, like he didn't really do much. And I feel bad. I do feel bad saying these things because like I know it sounds like I'm trying to, disparage their craft or even discredit them as an artist. Like I don't want to do that or say that. I'm just saying, um, there's, I don't know, I guess there's just nuance to that particular art form. Um, because again, I've seen like many other like similar approaches with like um I'm trying to think of like how to describe it. I don't want to say pour paint, but like I've seen other, methods of just dropping paint uh or ink on the surface and then you create something out of that. Um or you let the ink or paint make its own form and then you turn that into something else, right? But it's just like this is just kind of like science making, doing its thing. So I'm trying to think of other ways to describe it, but yeah, I'm running out of words here. But so yeah, I just thought that was like really interesting. And I'm curious. I'm curious if you guys think this is considered art or considered abstract art. Um, I mean, I get, sure, you can say it's abstract because there is no like, you know, um, I mean, to say it has no structure, these kind of have like, these are sort of patterns that are created, but yeah, I don't know. I'm genuinely curious to know what you guys think. Do you think this is art right here? And then are you a fan of it? If so, why? Like, please, like, I to be transparent with you guys, like, I struggle getting comments on my podcast because I try to address you and try to pick your brains about these certain matters, and I'm very much curious to know what you think. You know, do you think this type of art is art? And do you like this art? And if so, why? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. It almost feels like I'm giving you homework here, but I'm genuinely curious and I'm always trying to engage with you guys in some way somehow. So, yeah, please leave a comment if you're watching and if you're only listening, shoot me a DM or just hop on the video version and leave a comment there. Uh, because I'm curious to know. But that's pretty much the only thing I really wanted to discuss before introducing my guest. And actually want to do some plugs before getting to that. So May 16th. All right. So I'm recording this here Thursday the 9th. Next week on the 16th, I will be at at this festival called 804 Fest, which is going to be held at River City Roll. Now, actually, I should have said this in the beginning. This is for my local audience members in Richmond. So All right. So yeah, Richmonders. I will be at River City Roll on the 18th. I'm sorry, the 16th. And this is actually a night event, or at least there's a lot going on at this venue. This is like a bowling alley, I believe. I feel like I've been here once before. But there's a bowling alley with a bar in it, and they're doing like this extensive happy hour from 5 to 9, and they're gonna have live music, and then from 9 to 11, uh, they're gonna have a handful of art vendors present, including myself. So, and actually Matt Schmidt, who is a good friend. He's been on the podcast as well. He's a caricature artist. So we're gonna be there. So yeah, it should be a good time. I mean, it's gonna be past my bedtime when by the time this ends. Way past my bedtime, really. Especially for a weeknight. But this sounds like this could be fun, you know. So yeah, come through, especially if you're like a late nighter. If you're not an early bird like myself and you like to hang out and party, this would definitely be the place to be. Uh, Thirsty Thursday, right? So yeah. Then actually, this is gonna be a busy portion of the month. This like second half, because then that weekend, May 18th, I'm going to be at the Kasama Collective event. It's going to be their 1 year anniversary, 1 year birthday celebration at the Answer Brew Pub. Now, I've done a couple of events with Kasama Collective. They focus on Asian American, Pacific Islander um, artists, businesses, creatives. So this one definitely sounds like it's going to be a good time. Especially this is like hosted by Kasama, and they always, you know, they know how to throw down. They got performers, dancers, a lot of fun activities. I think I saw they're gonna have a bounce house for the kids. So sounds like this is gonna be another fun time. So that's gonna be on the 18th. And then May 25th and 26th, I'm gonna be in Charlottesville for their arts festival at Ix Art Park. Um, this is gonna be my third time there for this event, and yeah, I don't know, like it hasn't disappointed me. Like it's always been a great time as well. I'm gonna be demoing throughout both days. So come through, even if you're not gonna buy any art, right? You can just come hang out, chat, watch me work on something there. But yeah, should be a great time. And then I'm gonna plug in a couple of June dates. So June 15th and 16th. Oh, you know what? There is something else going on that I may have forgotten. Oh, I did forget. I'm sorry. Let's go back in May because uh this was a last minute addition. May 19th, I'm gonna be in Norfolk, or um as the people that are from here say, Norfolk. Yeah, that's right. You heard that. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Norfolk. I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm such a child. But yeah, at the Waterside District is the Norfolk flea market. Now, I've never done this before, but this looks like another grand event. And yeah, this is going to be another exciting new experience for me. This one's a bit of a hike, kind of like Charlottesville. It's about an hour away from me. But yeah, if you're like in that area or near that area, come through. Um, so yeah, that's the last minute addition. And then now let's go forward back to June 15th and 16th. I will once again be in Charlottesville for their Faye Festival at the Ix Art Park, and that's gonna be I've only done it once, and it was a lot of fun. It was honestly the best part of it. And actually, I have a vlog uh, on my YouTube channel that you can check out if you want to see that. Uh, I thought that was a lot of fun because there's you have these people characters. You know, there's people out there dressed up as like goblins and all these cool mythical creatures, and you got your fairies and stuff. Um, and then of course the live music, which I've said this once before, is it's one of my favorite parts of the festival is the live performances because you know, you got like these I don't know the names of these performers, but there's one that tends to like cover like like Game of Thrones theme and like other like Lord of the Rings or so, you know, it's just like they're playing some really cool music. That's all I can say. So again, come through if you're in the Seaville area. July. Oh, yeah. So because I feel like this is going to be really springing up quickly. July 26th is going to be my Tech Utopia solo exhibit at Artworks. Now, this is another new thing for me. You know, I've done the group exhibits, which has been very exciting and nerve-wracking. And now I get to have my solo exhibit for the first time ever. So this is really exciting, and I truly would love it if you were able to make it. You know, if you, you know, obviously you don't know me, yeah, come by if you want to meet, talk about art, talk about the series. It's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But for whatever reasons you're not able to attend to any of these events because you have other arrangements, other engagements. You could always shop online if you just want to take a look at what I got, because the stuff I sell online is what I sell at these events. So you could always visit the artofgtorado.square.site. Um, Also, I am open for commissions. Okay. So, you know, obviously by the time this comes out, Mother's Day will have passed. So if you want to book me for a Father's Day commission, because that's in June, um, just, you know, hit me up. Your first time clients, uh they will earn a automatic 10% discount. Okay. So, you know, if you're on a budget, you know, I'm always willing to work on a budget. All right. Shipping and handling are included in the price. And as far as no negotiations go, like I'm open to payment arrangements as well. So again, I'm willing to accommodate, you know, in any way, shape, or form to, you know, make this a wonderful experience. Okay. So if you want some personalized custom art, hit me up, you know, especially if it's your first time, automatic 10% off. Okay. And we'll just go on from there. All right. Now, moving on to my guest. She has been on here a few times, but this will be she's been on 4 times total, but this will be her third solo appearance. Her first appearance was on episode 14. And then she came back relatively quick on episode 20. Then we did a group show called tchFest with my friend Cali Smith, who is a New Jersey artist, which was a lot of fun because they've never met before, and we talk about this later on. Um, and that was on episode 137, I believe. Uh, but yeah, so what I was saying about this sit down is that now if you've heard her other appearances, you know, it's very fun. You know, we're joking, you know, I mean, we still joke around in this one, but it was the tonality is a little different, and maybe it's because now we're, you know, we're friends. We're this time around, it's definitely has the vibe of like just, because she hasn't been on in a while. Uh, so we're really just hanging out, catching up, talking about life. Um, this is also, yeah, this is like a heavier episode because we do dive into some more serious topics. And so yeah, uh just keep that in mind. If this is like your first time listening, your first time hearing Jenna Davis, okay, that's who's gonna be on here. Um, but you know, so if you want to pause, go back and check out her first couple of appearances, you could always do that and then come back to this episode and then see where we're at now. Because again, the tonality is a little different. We're kind of all over the place in this episode, but not, not that I want to, disparage this conversation, because even though it went a different route, I very much still enjoyed her company and I still enjoyed our conversation. So yeah. Without further ado, please welcome Jenna Davis. Oh, snap. So, everyone tuning in, please welcome good friend, fellow artist, illustrator, and jewelry maker, making her third solo appearance, Jenna Davis.
No, no, stop, you guys, stop. It's just me.
There we go. No,
What is your background?
oh, it's a digital illustration that I did a while back.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool. I thought it was like Futurama or something. I couldn't see what it was.
no, it's just because like maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Like we have a house now, so I
Hmm.
actually have a podcast studio, but it just doesn't have all the furniture. So like,
Oh, oh, oh.
yeah, literally behind me is like still packed up boxes of stuff.
I thought you should do a mural on the wall. That'd be kind of cool.
Um, that would be cool.
I don't know, maybe
A
not.
lot of
Maybe that's not your vibe. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and I'm definitely not. I mean, I haven't worked on a mural in forever, and that was like fucking elementary school. So like, I can't even say
Okay.
I have experience like one time. But no, I we're gonna have this really cool samurai painting behind on the wall from a local artist here. So yeah, once we get that, we're gonna get that on the wall. So I'm really excited about it. So for now, I'm just gonna have this painting or digital, art behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's cooler than my like broken blinds, so it's
I
fine.
mean, it's all right. No judgment here. Yeah, so how you been?
Um,
You know what?
you know,
How's the energy today? How's your energy right now?
like me or our energy.
Yours.
I'm that's weird. I don't know why. I actually almost texted you and was like, um, I want you to know off the bat, I'm like kind of tired today. So if I seem like I'm being a bitch, that is what is happening.
That's the
Because sometimes
tiredness.
when I'm tired, I'm just a little more like,
I
but
mean, we
it's
could have
allergies. I don't know what else it is.
well, we could have rescheduled if you wanted
No,
to.
I'm not like don't have a reason to be tired. I slept like 8 hours last night.
Oh, well,
It's just one of those days.
yeah, I feel you. But because I mean, I'm just only saying this because I track a lot of things with my Fitbit watch. So, you could have 8 hours of sleep, but it's a matter of the quality of sleep. So, maybe you just didn't
Yeah.
sleep well. You got those 8 hours, but maybe, you know, some of that time was you're just awake, tossing and turning.
well, and I just learned you might actually know something about this. So if I'm wrong, I don't know. But I saw a TikTok that said that study they did that said people need 7 to 9 hours, they only did on men and for some reason didn't do it on women because it was like the 40s or something.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
women need
so
more sleep, I believe, or something.
that's, yeah, that when they've done it on women, we generally need more sleep. And I was like, see, I'm not the problem
Oh no. No, my wife's the
for
same way.
wanting 11 hours of sleep.
My what, like,
Yeah.
on the weekends, shit, there'll be times where even like both of us, I'll speak for the both of us, will get, 9 hours, sometimes 10, depending what we did the night before. But like, yeah, I mean, she needs her sleep and she needs a lot of it. So that
Yeah.
is like a study. That is for sure a thing. So
Nice.
yeah. So you're not alone and you're not the problem.
In this scenario, yeah.
So you're tired. Uh,
Hmm.
but besides that, like, like what else? Like how are you besides the tiredness?
Um, I'm okay. I had a rough like 6 months
Yeah.
with my parents' health and some different stuff.
Yeah.
But everybody's good right now.
Yeah.
I have a kitten that I found at the top of a pine tree.
I saw your post.
Um, I'm sure at some point she will be over here. She's laying down right now. But
Aw. We both got
yeah,
new
I don't know.
kitties that
Other
are
than that, I'm just,
female. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
yeah, except for I also, lost Kevin's, my other cat. So that was, still haven't found her. No idea. But
Yeah. I was trying to
that's,
avoid that.
I know. So
Because
yeah,
like
it's been a really good 6 months. Thank you for asking.
I mean like I sort of keep not keep tabs, but I check in. So I'm like,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know all the details, but I know some of the things. But I was trying to be respectful and not get into those like sensitive subjects with you, just because I don't know where you're at in that regard. So
Well, that's just, I grew up with mostly mm, until I was in high school or college, I had only ever had dogs.
yeah.
And I'd been around cats. Like I had an aunt that has cats and stuff. But do you say aunt or aunt?
Um, actually, uh, naturally I say aunt, but I mean, there have been times where I sort of like self-edit. I mean, it depends. Yeah, natural. Like usually, I say aunt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, my aunt had them, but I'm not used to the whole like, I don't know. People lose cats. People be losing cats a
Yeah.
lot. And I feel like that happens less with dogs, or at least in my experience. So uh
Mm.
and then yeah, I don't know. It's just been stressful. I spent like probably 3 months not doing things I should have been doing and instead just driving around looking for my cat that I lost. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
lose, but that got out. And
Mm.
yeah. Anyway,
No, I feel
so
you. Like,
found
you know,
Georgie in a tree. So we saved a life. I don't know.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how like not to get all like woo woo, but it's just kind of it's interesting how the universe kind of works itself out like that. Because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like just timing of things, right? The timing of like events that happen, especially
Yeah.
polar, like, bad things and good things, like when those things happen, sort of at the same time or one after the other, I should say. It's like, hmm, like, yeah, like I kind of, in terms of like the loss, like I resonate with you. Like it was, same thing. Like not that I want to make this like a competition or compare, but it's like, yeah, like we lost Siler in January
Yeah.
and then like maybe a week or two later, we adopted another cat that's like 3 years old, so it's just like, and then like that kind of sprung up on us. Like it wasn't like we were searching. It's just like
Yeah.
I have a friend here that yeah, was just taking care of like shit, we call that, like, like a litter of cats, or just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um and she's like, hey, like we like they were hanging out at her job, and like her boss was like, you got to get rid of these. And she's like, "Ah, fuck." So, you know, yeah. So the timing of all that, it was just like, oh, I mean, it's like, is it too soon? I don't know.
I know.
But
It's such a weird thing because even with Georgie, the new cat, I like it was really weird. I don't normally do this. Somebody had I since Kevin went missing, I joined all those Facebook groups, for like missing pets. And so I just see these every day of people seeing animals. And someone had posted, there's been a cat meowing in a tree, like, and the pine trees here are not, well, Virginia, they probably have big pine trees in Virginia too, right? Or no? I don't know.
not,
I'm just saying
I
shit.
don't think so, but
Okay. Well,
yeah, I
like
don't
I grew
know.
up, in Kansas, so it's like, yeah, there were pine trees, but they're not like these pine trees can be, I was just gonna lie and say like 300 feet tall. I have no idea, but like they can be very tall. And she is, they think like 7 months old now, so she would have been like 6 months old and had been stuck. They think like a raccoon or something had chased her up into a tree, and she had been stuck up there meowing for 3 days. And it was like snowing, it was freezing, it was just, I mean, it was terrible. And I saw somebody post about it, and it happened to be like 5 minutes away from our apartment, and I was like, I kind of want to just go see. I don't know why, just something compelled me to like go over there, and I ended up at these people's house with them for like an hour and a half while this guy climbed up the tree and finally got her out. It was like really unsafe.
Mm,
And I was like, well, I can just take her for the night or whatever. And fully, like, really did not end up. I did not think I was going to take this cat. And now it's been about 2 months.
mm,
And uh, she is my cat now. I was like, I'll foster her. And now I'm like, nah, I'm not giving this cat to someone else. Like,
yeah.
I can't do that. So,
Yeah, you got
yeah,
a little
it is.
attached.
Yeah. But that's what the reason I started saying that was because at first I was like, well, I don't want to feel like I'm giving up on Kevin by having this cat. So I'm not going to like commit to this being my cat because that would be rude to Kevin or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And uh, then finally, this girl was like, well, if Kevin came back, would you get rid of Kevin for this cat? And I was like, no, of course not. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? And she was like, then why would you feel bad? You can have this cat and if Kevin comes back. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just a
know.
matter of like how you introduce them, like, because that's like that's like a
I know.
thing you
And
gotta
Kevin's
work
an
with.
asshole, so
Yeah, yeah, that was the thing when after Siler passed, because we still have Loki, he's the younger
mhm.
brother. So like um during that period before we got Stella, Loki was being more affectionate, like he was like, he would actually just like willingly come join us on the couch and like lay with us and stuff like that. And like, it was really sweet, but it was like that was short lived because then we got, then we got Stella, and me just, I don't know. I'm like, oh, like I don't want Loki to think he's being replaced. But then at the same time,
Yeah,
like I just, it felt like he was like he's not used to being, an only child. Like he's used to be
yeah,
having brothers. And so like during that period while he was being very sweet, I'm like, like I feel like he's lonely, like he has no one to like bother or anything. Like him and
mhm.
Siler never really played with each other. If anything, like just he was being a little brother, so you just bug him and try to like just chase him around and whatever. So yeah, and then we got Stella, and we had to like ease her in to the ecosystem, but I think now he enjoys being a big brother. So, but it's just like, it's like it's a feel out process that lasts for, weeks, sometimes months. But
Well, yeah. And like, I don't know what you do if because I've seen it a few times where some animals just like will not get along. And I luckily have never been in that situation where it was like bad, but I could never give an animal back or like send it to a shelter. So it's like, I don't know what you do in that situation. I'm just so glad I haven't been put in it yet.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we haven't yeah, like we never came to that point where like, oh shit, like we might have to reconsider. It's just we
Yeah.
kind of let them feel each other out, and if they have a little scuffle, like, all right. I mean, like, as long as it doesn't like get extreme, but it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
they'll chase each other, they might hiss and, all that. Like just let them sort their shit out, and then sure, like hopefully they will come to an agreement like, hey, we're both in this house now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but at least they have a house too. They have more room probably now.
yeah, for sure. That was the thing. Like Loki, when we had Loki, we were always living in an apartment. So, and like that was another thing too. Like I guess that kind of like, you know, uh persuaded us to like, it's like, yeah, like let's, it might feel too soon, but let's take in this cat, because like now, like Loki never been alone, let alone alone in a house. So it's like let's
Yeah.
let's let him have a partner that he can play around and whatever. So yeah, but well, I'm glad you appearingly seem to be in a good place right now.
Thank you. Me too.
You look good.
Thank you.
Um,
I got my Walmart water thing.
I was gonna say, you want to plug in, you want to do like a little ad for that? No.
This is a Bubba from Walmart. I think they're like $7.
All right, I
That's
gotta
about
say
all I have
this.
to say.
I gotta say this right now, because like when I see our two little screens next to each other, it almost looks like we kind of match. Like obviously my hoodie is a darker color, but I feel like we kind of
We
match.
planned this.
Huh?
Hmm. I said we planned it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we totally did.
Yeah, kind of.
Um, so actually, I've been meaning to ask you. I mean, I may have asked you like way long ago after we had done it, but I've been wondering about your thoughts on the Bitch Fest experience with Cali Smith.
I thought it was fun. I thought it
Yeah.
was fun to have more than I mean, like it's just a different dynamic. And I feel like all the podcasts I watch are like several people, which I don't know if that's kind of not normal, I don't think, but that just happens to be the ones that I watch.
Like
But
large groups.
yeah, I mean, or like co-hosts off to the side who add in. But
Got gotcha.
uh yeah, I thought that was fun. My whole thing is I just am so like self-conscious whenever I first meet someone. In my head the whole time I'm like, oh, she hates me, like she does not like me. This like I feel like I try really hard to like make a good first impression, and then
Yeah.
sometimes that actually like goes the wrong way and comes off as like shut up. So that's the only thing, is that I'm sure in my head at the time I remember being like, am I being annoying? Do I need to stop talking? Like, do I need to? But I thought it was fun.
Oh, okay. I'm glad to hear it. It was, yeah, I thought, I thought it was a fun experience. There's just something about like having like two worlds collide. I don't know why, but I enjoy having those moments of like there are two people that I really enjoy talking to, like, but they don't know each other. Like, let's see how this works out. And
Yeah.
I'm glad. I mean,
And we're very different, but
Well, exactly. And
I mean, her and I
that's the
follow
fun
each
part.
other. Yeah, it's like we're really different, but we have art in common, which is like a big thing to have in common, kind of. So
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't host a bitch fest and it'd be like artist, and then like fucking
engineer.
yeah, engineer or doctor or some shit. Like
You started off and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fun. They're gonna fucking hate each other.
well, they just like what are the chances of like having that one commonality? And yeah, obviously I would want it to be at least art. That's
Yeah.
what the podcast is for the most part. But no, okay, I'm glad that yeah, I'm glad that it was a fun experience. I want to do
Yeah.
another one. I feel like it's been long overdue. I just don't know like who I would want to do it with, because I would like to like rotate with like different people, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard
Oh,
to coordinate. So,
yeah, I guess that's
well,
true.
but also actually, because we spoke about this on that episode. Damn, I wish I knew off the top of my head what number that is, because I would definitely advise the audience to check that out. But so your favorite Filipino guy? I mean, besides me, but you know what I'm referring to?
My favorite Filipino guy, put it right here.
You got a plant?
What? Come on, kind of set
It's
up.
a GIF. It's a GIF that is Mr. G. Terado
Oh,
in
okay.
30 years that he uses all the time. And it just makes me want to punch him in the face.
Oh, damn.
I went to go tell him how annoyed I was at this GIF, and then went into we were texting, and then went to our Instagram DMs to see he had sent me that GIF before he even knew I was going to complain about it. And I was like, this has to be my thing that I bitch about. It just has to. It's just you. You are the thing that I'm bitching about.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Did he die?
Huh?
I thought I don't know. I thought you were going to say he died.
Well, he did a few years ago, but I discovered I shouldn't be laughing about that, but I recently discovered, just swiping through reels, that he happened to be a well-known like famous comic book artist. And he's actually Filipino also.
The man behind this meme wasn't just an internet one-hit wonder, but a true legend in the world of comic. Meet Jerry Alangilan, aka Comicero. Before becoming an internet sensation, he showcased the exceptional skill and passion of Filipino artists through his work with industry giants like Marvel, DC, and Image. In the mid-90s, Jerry began to dazzle the comic book world as an inker for blockbuster titles such as Wetworks, X-Men, Superman, Birthright, Wolverine, Fantastic Four, and Silent Dragon. Working alongside with Filipino talents, he brought unparalleled depth and emotion and precision to these stories, showcasing the exceptional skill and creativity of Filipino artists on a world stage. After proving his mettle in the Western comic book scene, Jerry brought us Elmer, his magnum opus about chickens gaining human consciousness. This groundbreaking comic not only showcased Filipino talent, but also challenged the global perceptions of what comics can be, infusing deep social issues into captivating narratives. Jerry's impact just doesn't stop at his artwork. He was a mentor, a rights advocate, and a visionary who saw comics as a vibrant medium for profound storytelling. His legacy lives on, inspiring us to push boundaries and share our stories with pride on the global stage. You can even visit his museum to witness the journey of this remarkable man who dreamt big and made those dreams a reality. Let's keep the legacy of Jerry Alangilan alive, celebrating the rich tapestry of Filipino narratives that he helped weave, as we honor his contributions in both Western and Filipino titles.
But
Maybe you're related to him.
I doubt it. There's no way. But no, it's
No,
just
okay.
funny because that he like they have they call him the hey baby meme. That's what that series of memes were called, the hey baby. It's just like
That actually is weird that he, out of everything in the world, he is both Filipino and like a comic artist.
I know, right? That is kind of
Yeah.
like what a coincidence.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
but,
Love that guy.
I know. R.E.P. R.I.P. R.E.P. What the fuck did I? Well, yeah,
R.E.P..
represent and rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, his name, and well, he has a pretty ethnic name. I should address his name. Um, what is it? Because I have it written down. Oh, so his name is Jerry. All right. I'm gonna say this pretty, I'm gonna sound pretentious, but Alangian. I think that's how Filipinos would say it. But it's just funny that also his first name is Jerry, which
I was just gonna
ironically,
say, is it with the G?
yeah, with the G. It's wait, do you know my first full name?
You told me, but I think about it quite often because I'd never remember.
Okay, well, it's not that, but I was
I
like,
know, but it's similar.
yeah, but it's just again kind of funny, like that was like a nickname people would try to give me, and I'm like, nah, I ain't fucking with that. Don't call me
Yeah.
Jerry.
Well, I feel like with a G is better, but I automatically go to J, Jerry, and then I think of like Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm like, no, that doesn't fit you.
Oh, like for me?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
no.
can't.
Like Jerry, it's like, no,
And then
I don't know.
well, I think of Jerry also from like Parks and Rec. Yeah.
Oh, well, is that his name? That's still up for debate, I think.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. Thank you
Speaking
so
of
much.
Jerry Seinfeld, have you are you a fan of Jerry Seinfeld? A fan of the show?
I'm a very big fan of Larry David.
Okay.
Um, I love Curb. I love Larry David. I no, like I don't like hate Jerry Seinfeld, but I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I was maybe just a little too young to appreciate Seinfeld. Like not really, because I know people love it, but it
Yeah.
was I don't know. But I also love Julia Louis-Dreyfus, so I should like it,
I
and I
mean,
should
well,
like him probably.
no, that's fair because look, I love Seinfeld, the show. Um,
Mhm.
also, and of course you worked with Larry David on that. But I'm not too big on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like I tried watching it. Um, I mean, I didn't even get past the first season. But basically Seinfeld is basically kind of like Curb, but less raw, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, more of like a sitcom. I mean, it is a sitcom, I guess, but
yeah, just more
right?
tightened up,
Yeah.
with the bits and stuff. So,
Well, because I know Herb is like 100% to my knowledge. I believe it's 100% what's the word? Improvised. Like he
oh
just
yeah, right.
writes a very general outline for like what the story is, and then they pretty much just like go in, which I think is actually weirdly, I think that's part of why I like it because so many of the like as you know, I think we both are pretty into like the comedy scene, but I tend to find I like most people a lot more like on a podcast setting than I
Hmm.
do stand up. And I don't know why. Like
Oh, that
people that
is
I really,
interesting.
really like on podcasts, I'll watch their stand up and I'm like, okay. And
That's
I don't
very
know
interesting.
what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, I go both ways. But one little fun fact, just before we get into like the podcasting thing, um, I mean, maybe this might entice you. If not, it's okay. But and maybe you even heard of this already, but George Costanza is practically based off of Larry David. So, like
Yeah.
just like
But
the jokes and mannerisms and stuff.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably need to give it more of a chance. Like just recently, I've never watched The Sopranos.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, me neither. I never really, and I'm from
really
Jersey, which is like a,
a sin.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and I don't know. But um, and I think what's his face is really annoying. The tall neighbor,
Uh, well, Kramer.
Kramer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But that's the thing is I haven't given it enough of a chance to say it's not for me. I think I just like see bits and pieces of it and I've just decided like no, which obviously I'm wrong. It's like the most famous show of all time. So like
Yeah, I mean, well,
if anyone's opinion is wrong, it's mine probably, but
no, it's just your opinion is your own. I'm sure, I don't know. I'll just say this, if one day you decide to watch a couple of episodes, let me know what you think.
what is it on? Do you know?
Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, okay, you should watch more than just the first season of Curb though.
I'm trying to, but there's just I can't even I can't even think of a way to articulate it quick enough. But it's just like I'm trying to think what was the one scene I can't even remember which episode or what, but there's just like there are moments that are very cringy for me to
Yeah, but
get through.
that's the point. You watch Parks and Rec, like what are you talking about?
I know, but I don't know. It's just with Larry David, it's another level. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I again I can't quite articulate it why or and like I wish I can remember and pinpoint like what was like the one that made me like I can't right now like I don't know which episode it was that made me like stop watching. But I mean I'm like I think about going back because I always hear like oh it gets better and I mean the whole spiel every time someone says they couldn't finish one season of a new show or something. But you
Yeah.
know we'll see, we'll see. I might get back on that boat and ride it through. But so I want to go on the podcast thing because I do find it interesting what you said. Because like for me, it's like there are some comics that I'll listen to that I find funnier on podcast than their actual
Hmm.
stand up, and like vice
That's
versa.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, there's
I also
only like a
wonder if
few that I can listen on both formats, if you want to call it that.
okay, who do you like on both?
Mark Norman, Sam Morril, um, maybe Andrew Santino, um, perhaps Tom Segura.
Yeah.
What else? That might just be it right now.
Tom is one of my only ones that I like. I like Tom both places, but I think maybe even more on stand up. And
Yeah.
Theo, I like Theo Vaughn both places. But Theo's the
Mm.
same on his podcast and in stand up. Like
Yeah.
so
So
and actually I liked Cheeseburger a lot. I liked Santino's cheeseburger. I thought that was
mm,
pretty funny,
yeah, it's just
I think.
also like I feel like going like actually seeing live stand up has kind of ruined specials for me. Um,
Yeah.
just because like when you're in the room and you feel the energy, the laughter is intoxicating and contagious. Um, so like watching a special just it just doesn't hit the same. Um, so like you mentioned Theo. I can listen to Theo on a podcast, but I can't remember his last special, but I tried watching it and it wasn't hitting for me, and I don't think I finished.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
And like
gosh,
same
I've
thing
watched
goes
it
for
so
like
many times.
and same thing like like I listen to Your Mom's House, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know, Christina P's like sometimes she's funny, sometimes she's annoying to me, but I did
Yeah, I
not like
agree.
her last special. Like that shit was glammed the fuck up. Like man, I forget how much
No.
she spent on her outfit and everything. Like it was a fucking
Yeah.
fuck ton. And I'm like, but her stand like that, you didn't like it either? Like you weren't
No. I think I got like because she's one of those people I want to like her and I don't dislike her, but I'm like if you weren't married to Tom, I think I would just not like you. And that sounds so bad, but it's like I like Tom. I like Tom so much. And then she's really good friends with some of my other favorite podcasters,
Uh-huh.
but she just feels very like hacky to me a lot of the time. I'm like,
Mm.
this would have been really funny in like the 80s. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm a little more all right. Well, you know I'm bad with vocabulary, so I'm gonna use some words incorrectly, but I
That's fine.
I do have a little favoritism towards East Coast comics, I think. Like New York comics. Like I don't know if that's just because I'm from
How,
Jersey or what, but I do like their style a bit more, especially with like, like that like Mark Norman, I think might be like one of my top favorite comics because I just like I like that cadence, like the punch, like almost the punchline after punchline kind of thing. Like, he's got a setup and everything, but it's not so much as like like I feel like a good portion of like LA comics have that sort of like narrative type of comedy. I don't even know if it's narrative, but it's just like storytelling as opposed to like a setup and then like a punchline. You know what I mean?
so you
Like,
probably really hated like Hannah Gadsby.
oh God, fuck
Do
that
you know
bit.
who that is?
Yeah.
Oh
Fuck
my God.
that bit.
See, but she's actually somebody I had first seen her on like Colbert or something
Mhm.
and thought she was so weird and so funny in the interview and was like, whoa, who is this person? Like, what? I am very intrigued by her. And then I think I went to go watch her stand up and was like, I don't really know what's happening here. Like,
Yeah.
and I know that's kind of maybe part of it is that she was kind of trying to make it like avant garde, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm just like not smart enough. I don't know. I was kind of like, oh, this is not, I didn't want this.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm trying to think of like a good example. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like LA comics, or at least that sort of style. Like, because there's some of them that I do enjoy that are like kind of like storytelling ish, but they still have like there is like a punchline still. I just feel like with hers, there
mhm.
was like nothing there. It was just like, I don't know. I just remember
It's
her.
definitely more, it's more like performance art than comedy, which is
Maybe
like
that's
fine, but it's different.
yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I just can't. I can't
Do
think
you
of.
like
Hmm?
Tig Notaro?
Um, I'm not familiar with her material. Like I feel like I've seen
She looks like
something of
Tom Cruise.
hers. I know who she is.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember. Um, I mean, if she had a recent special, I haven't seen it. I feel like I've seen something of hers in the past, but this was like years ago.
Well, she like just came out with one that I actually haven't watched yet, but
Okay.
her big thing that she got kind of famous for was um she had a double mastectomy. She had breast cancer, and so she had a stand-up special. I can't think of what it's called. Oh, yes, I can. It's Boyish Girl Interrupted. But she like took her shirt off for it
Uh,
just to like, I don't know, kind of gimmicky, but kind of just to be like, this is my body now. I don't know.
yeah.
But which is weird because if you like I listened to her on a few podcasts and that seems like something she would never ever do. Like it's actually kind of weird that she did that.
Yeah.
Um but she's
Do you,
from like Louisiana, I think, or something.
do you like Whitney
Is that
Cummings?
I have a very complicated relationship
Okay.
with Whitney Cummings.
Because I'm like
I've
trying to
actually
think of like a common like LA comic that has the thing that I'm trying to describe, and I feel like she's one of them. Like I'm not trying to
okay,
just
so
attack her for being a female comic, like that the gender doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just like that style of comedy. Like it's very, you know, it usually misses for me.
see she's actually someone who in it's really weird because I get very like not like parasocial with people, but for instance, like Bobby Lee is a good example of this. He's
Mm.
someone that I love and I am like, we would be best
But
friends.
would you want to see his penis
But
on stage though?
Literally, that's what I was about to say. But I do not want to see him do stand up. And
Yeah.
I know I'm like almost positive that I would not think he was funny at stand up. I could be wrong, but the way, like his vibe, I like love him when he's just being himself. But the way he gets, I feel like when he's being all like crazy like that is not my vibe. And so I feel like if he ever did a special, like I would watch it to support him, but I know I have a feeling I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's my opinion on that.
Mm.
Oh, but Whitney, that's what I was saying. So she actually came to town here a couple of years ago, and really last minute, my friend was like, "Do you want to go to this?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." And now, granted, everything is more fun when you're in person and you're like a little bit drunk, and like you said, everyone is laughing around you. So I feel like it's just, I actually really enjoyed it, but I was like pretty drunk, and I was with my friend, so it's kind of like, I don't know how funny I thought she was, or if it was more just like, oh, it was like fun and I had a fun time. I'm not really sure which it was.
Mm.
Because she annoys the shit out of me on podcasts most of the time. I'm like,
actually glad you said that.
I'm like, I really need you to like shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's just like that.
So
That like she's like very is it erratic or I don't she's just I feel like I get anxiety because she's so like
literally I do too.
yeah.
I like am like, and you can't have people on your podcast and then you just talk at them for 2 hours. Like that's not really what this is supposed to be.
You know who's a great example in terms of, well, this is just my opinion, so let me know what you think. Great comic, annoying to listen to on podcast, and that is Andrew Schultz.
I feel like I already know who you're gonna say. Oh. Yeah.
Which is ironic because I was talking about how I love New York comics and he's a New York comic, but I do not like listening to him on podcasts. I mean, I usually avoid it. But who'd you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say Bert Kreischer.
Oh, fuck that dude. Fuck that.
And he's someone too. He's kind of, I feel like a Bobby thing about him where I like him. I think he's like a sweet person. I have no interest in watching him do stand up. I do not care about the machine story.
Yeah.
Like it's not that funny.
Well, that's
I'm
the
just
thing. I wouldn't, I'm not even like trying to like sort of disparage their character. Like I think all these people, I'm sure they're great people, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like when you break them down to like as a podcaster and as a comic, it's just like for Bert, it's just like I avoid like, yeah, I don't even like listening, like, because sometimes I'll listen to podcasters even if I'm not a big fan, but if they have like great guests on or people that I'm a fan of, like I'll still tune in. But he's one that I'm like, no, I have no interest.
Yeah.
I just can't.
And he's very like, his personality is so well. Did you see when he went on Flagrant?
No, because that because
I hate everything about
whammy.
that. Yeah. So he's like, I guess, scared of clowns. Like he really is actually. Did you see that?
So like because phones, they listen to us and track everything. So I do like I tend to see a lot of videos from these, like, I guess if you want to label them as media journalists or like people that just follow podcasts and comedians and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of YouTubers cover certain, or
that one that always pops up for me is called like Jokes World or something.
Jokes World is yeah, that one's popular because I think they like well, I guess it's one guy, but he actually will interview some big names or like up and comers. I often see, so I'll see Joke World. Sometimes I see one channel called Too Lazy to Try, I think it is.
I feel like I've seen all, because I get a lot of like Theo Von and Bobby Lee for 36 minutes, like that
compilations.
Kind of
yeah. And one called like, I hate to admit this one it's called Podcast Cringe. So like, they basically just cover like cringy moments, and
Like
often it's
when like
about,
Shane Gillis was on there.
oh, I like Shane Gillis.
No, when he was on Flagrant and he
Oh, when they were like
you know what I'm talking
laughing
about?
at the video with the two um
Yeah.
R
I
words.
didn't yeah, people with Down syndrome.
Yeah, sorry, I just couldn't come up with
But
that quick enough.
yeah, but see, then I never know. Sometimes I'm like, maybe we've all become so parasocial that we're reading way too far into this and like maybe it's not that big of a deal. Or maybe Shane Gillis like fucking hates Andrew Schultz and that really is the vibe that he was giving off. I'm not sure.
I think yeah, it's tough, right? Like to see like what's really behind the curtains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's tough. That's tough. But
Oh,
it's
but that's
funny.
what I was going to say about Andrew Schultz is I feel like he's gotten more insufferable because I used to
Yes.
kind of like him.
Same.
I like a year or so ago, I had found, I don't know, Flagrant came up. And at first, it's just a bunch of guys sitting there. I'm like, this probably isn't going to be something I'm going to watch. But I ended up, because I do like a few of the other guys on there. And then I feel like more recently when I watch it, I'm kind of like,
They seem
okay,
to be
well,
really like becoming the
his
heel.
ego's gotten very big.
Yeah, like they're really kind of leaning in on like being the heel, I guess. Like because like same thing with like Two Bears One Cave, like Tom and Bert. Their fans are like starting to kind of turn on them a bit now. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's just like now they're like bigger comics that they're more prone to being a bigger target, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been seeing that too. And that's the thing, right? Like I feel like I'm kind of like hate watching now at this point with these guys because I'm
Mhm.
like, and I that's the part I don't like about this whole thing. At least like for myself, I'm like, I find myself kind of like tuning in just to, I don't know, like there's like no pure enjoyment out of it. But yeah, I don't know. Like bad friends too. Like I don't know if it's like a burnout or what, but like I'm like kind of a little over it with the bad friends a little. Like unless they have a guest, I'll most likely tune in. But yeah, just
Well, I still like Bad Friends, but I will say anytime it goes back to like an old episode and it just was so much less planned and it was so much more them just like talking about dumb stuff and like it
yeah.
felt more it's like it's back when it was smaller and there weren't as many people listening and they had just started. There's like some kind of magic there that I feel like gets lost when like
Mm.
you start having Zac Efron on and all that kind of stuff where it's kind
I
of
didn't
like,
watch that
oh, okay,
episode.
like
I saw the coverage for
it
it.
was hard to watch.
I
It was
heard,
hard to
yeah.
watch.
Yeah. I mean,
Bobby just
I
took
did
a
see the
little,
bit when when they're playing out the skit with I think Zac Efron's playing like the mom, like he's acting as the
yeah,
mom and they do like the whole hugging thing. Like I saw that coverage
yeah.
and I'm like, ugh. Yeah, Bobby Lee, like
It does.
sometimes I
It just,
love him and then sometimes I'm like, God damn it,
I
Bobby.
know, I know that's the thing too, is because everyone, he's one of those people actually, well, this is different, but um, it's like we love you for who you are when you're just being yourself. You don't need to be like that. Like, don't act different. Also, you're in your 50s. Like, come on.
The
But
th
it's
yeah,
like you want to tell him like, don't do that. Don't do that. Just be yourself, and like people will like you. It's
the
like what you
thing
tell a little kid.
the thing that turns me off is when he goes into that gear of like when he starts like getting real self-deprecative of like, oh, I'm not getting these roles or whatever. When he like feels he's not I don't know, I guess he's not doing enough or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude,
He's
like
just so obsessed with like Hollywood. It's kind of like, okay,
yeah, like
come on.
he's always like, why not me kind of thing. And it's just like, dude, like one, you kind of have this reputation of being late or like, like you have a certain reputation, and that's probably why in some cases you might not be invited to something or included in a project or whatever it may be. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of, that's when I tend to like turn off. But yeah, um, you're not familiar with like Mark Norm, like the two Mark Norman or Sam Morril, because they have
Well,
I love their podcast because they have some good
is it something
segments.
about like
We might be
drink or
drunk.
something? Okay, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I definitely know, like, I can picture both of them. I know who
You just
both of them are. I just, I don't know.
okay. No, that's fair.
I think I saw Mark Norman on, I really like Chris Stefano and
Okay.
uh Sal, just because I'm a 13-year-old boy.
Volcano or
So yeah, as all 13-year-old boys do, I love Impractical Jokers. So I think I saw him on there and I liked him on there. I just haven't, I don't know. That one, that those two and like Anthony Jeselnik or whatever. I
Mhm.
hear their names all the time, but I'm like not familiar with them.
A- Anthony Jeselnik, he's a good comic. I like him. I never listened to his podcast though, but I enjoyed his stand up. It's been a while since I've seen his last special. But he's like he's one of those kind of dark comics. It's got some dark material.
Like Mark Maron or whatever.
Um yeah, I guess you could say that. Well, I don't know. Mark Maron's kind of like depressive, isn't he? It's kind of like on the
I think so, but
yeah. No, I'm talking
yeah.
like I think Justin Nick had like one of his like closers that kind of got him on the radar on the map. He had like a dead baby joke or like an abortion joke, and like
Oh.
yeah,
For some reason,
I-
it's kind of weird how you saying dead baby elicited a reaction from me that was way worse than when you were like, or abortion. I was like, oh, dead baby?
well, because it's
Absolutely
like
not. Abortion?
because when
Okay.
you got the word dead in there, and it's just like
Mhm.
automatically. But yeah, I feel like we could talk about comedy like
I know.
all night. So like we're already almost an hour in, and I'm like, fuck, we just been talking about podcasts and comedy. I
Well,
mean,
whatever.
I mean, if you're okay with that, I just, you know,
I'm fine. You're the one who, yeah. I have bad friends just like on muted right now.
Jesus. Well, I'll say this because my mind is still on the We Might Be Drunk podcast. What I like about that podcast in particular is just that, they talk about, they talk about things and joke around, but they have these segments where they talk about bits, like new bits that they're working on. And
Mhm.
they have a segment called Rex where they recommend like movies, books, stuff like that. Like they really do talk about film a lot. So I don't know if that's just like a thing. I don't know. I just like listening to them talk about like film. Um, like there's like an appreciation of it. Like they usually talk about like some usually like older films. So it's just I don't know.
Mhm.
I that's just like a personal thing I like listening to. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that's like that's like another fun hang to kind of like be a fly on the wall for. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
What was the last movie you saw that you really liked?
the last actually, well, this kind of brings up Jerry Seinfeld again. We just watched his new movie, Frosted.
Oh, I keep seeing people holding up Pop Tarts.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Was
a
it
fun
good?
film. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
someone I really like is in it. Who's in it?
it's loaded with like
Oh,
comedians
okay.
and comedic actors. So it's got Jim Gaffigan, Melissa McCarthy.
Mhm.
Oh my God, don't my mind is gonna start failing on me. Um, it's got some people from SNL. Shit, who's the female comic that got caught like stealing jokes? Because she's on there.
Oh, Amy Schumer.
Yeah, she's on there, but she's pretty funny in that. The guy that plays Schmidt from New Girl's in there.
That's all you had to say. That's all you had
Um,
to say to me.
Bill Burr's in it.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like
it's
Bill
like
Burr.
yeah, there's like a yeah, there's it's a loaded cast with like some significant names in there. So it's fun. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a fun, funny movie. Like it's like joke after joke. Like it's got like a different tempo than what we're used to nowadays.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, and it's also like nostalgic too, because it's I don't know, I'm bad with time periods, but I mean, yeah, it's like at the start of like when breakfast cereals were like a big thing. Like it's just and just seeing all the nods to it too, like Tony the Tiger and like the Rice Krispies elves,
Hmm.
Snap Crackle Pop. Like it's just I don't know, it's just funny. Hugh Grant's in it, although he's not, but he is funny in it. But I don't know. Yeah, if you're curious, I would recommend it. Uh,
I like a lot of the people I love Melissa McCarthy, so
yeah, I mean,
I,
there's so many more people, but of course, now that I'm like put on the spot, I can't remember everybody else. Um, but what was I gonna say? Was there another movie before that? I know that's like the most recent. What about you?
well, I this was not, I guess, that recent, but did you see Poor Things?
No, who's in it?
Oh, it was it's Emma Stone, who is I kind of could like go either way with her
Is
most of
that
the
like
time, but
is she
Willem
British in that
Dafoe,
movie?
yeah, Willem
Okay,
Dafoe and what's his face, Mark Ruffalo,
okay.
who
I know
also
of it.
like kind of yeah, it won a bunch of Oscars and stuff, which but it was I mean, I don't know for sure. It definitely is, I feel like one of those movies that you either would really appreciate. I think people very much come out of it either like loving it or hating it.
Mm,
It's just kind of one of those movies. I loved it. There are funny parts. There are parts we saw it in theaters, and there were parts where I laughed really hard. But it's kind of like a take on. Actually, I think it's after a book or something, but it's kind of a take on like the Frankenstein thing.
mm,
But Willem Dafoe is like a scientist, and he brings well, I don't know if this is like spoiler alert, but brings Emma Stone back to life,
oh,
kind of. And so she like is an adult, but she's like starting life all over again. And
okay.
so yeah, it sounds kind of weird, but it just was, I don't know. It was I think it was I have never seen a movie like it. Like I left just feeling like, when you see something and it's like, I've never seen something like that. Like I am it just felt like a new take on things. And it was like I left just feeling very like happy and wanting to like read more into it instantly. And like it just was, I don't know. I thought it was really good.
Well,
But I've also been on sides of TikTok where people are like, you're fucking wrong and it was not good. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. But
oh,
I really liked it. And I love Willem Dafoe. He can do no wrong.
oh,
So
yeah, he's the man for sure.
he is. And I like have seen him on a couple podcasts. He like raises uh greyhounds that used to be abused and like forced to run. He like takes them and puts them on his farm. And I'm like, of course he does. I
Yeah,
just love him. He's such a weird guy and I like him a lot.
yeah, man. Hollywood actors are weird. Just because like you hear stuff like that, right? But it's not
Yeah, that's not
widely.
normal.
Well, it's like not widely, you know, reported, right? But then you hear of these other stories that's like circulating around in like media about celebrities doing these great things, and I don't know, you find out they're douchebags or I don't know. It's just like there's like a interesting like opposition here of like you got your celebrities that do great things under the radar, and then you got the ones that are, you know, they just like promote. It's all like publicity shit, you know. It's just like, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I
how do
guess
you
like
feel about
without what?
well, I was gonna say, are I don't know if this is the Met Gala. Are you like you're probably like not into that at all, I'm
Oh, Met
assuming.
Gala? No, that shit. Like
Yeah. Which I mean, I'm not into it, but it's like almost unavoidable.
I mean, I see things, but I don't like. I don't. I'll just see. I might just see a headline or a thumbnail, but I'm not clicking on it. You know.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. I don't. Maybe because I'm not too much into fashion, but
Well,
yeah.
that's because I'm like that has to be the only reason it's shown to me at all because I'm not like a suit like most of what I wear is from Target. So like I'm not trying to say I'm really into fashion, but then I love John Oliver. I love him. And last week tonight, the British guy with the like weird nose.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
bad with names.
Well, and that's just like a very it's kind of like Jenna Davis. Like that could be just about anybody.
Yeah, but like
But
I mean, I know well, I know the name. I need yeah, like I would have needed a description or just see his face to like
mhm.
kind of
Glasses, weird nose, yeah.
yeah.
He he well, anyway, I don't know why I was gonna go. There's just a clip of him. He just like hates all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, anyway, I it did feel very like dystopian and weird that all this stuff is going on all over the world, but
Yeah.
specifically in the Middle East. And then these people are paying $75,000 a ticket to
Uh,
donate to an art museum. And I used to work at an art museum. I love art. I love museums, but it's like I can't make a credit card payment and these people are like
well, it's just
paying
like
like a very
we're all just kind of like it's like there's a lot of like disorientation on
yeah,
things. Like it's like and yeah, there's like so much going on. Like, you know, not that I mean, I can't get into like all the global tragedies
no,
that's going on because I mean, it's
there's
just
too many.
it's too much. Like I had this
Yeah.
conversation with you know with another friend, and it's just like it just sucks because like if you don't speak on it, you're a piece of shit. But if you
Yeah.
do speak on it, and let's say you sound like you're defending one side, like whatever it is, right? And it's just like you're either on the wrong side or you just don't speak about it enough. And it's just like how am I gonna
When all of this when all of that stuff started, I had just posted something saying like um I don't even know if I want to go here. I'm like maybe I shouldn't even
we,
go here.
we don't have to.
Basically, I just had said at the very beginning, I was like pretty much just saying that like no um I don't feel like okay, if people were going to hold Americans
Think about it.
responsible
Think about it.
for everything our government had done,
Yeah.
would we think that's fair?
Yeah.
Is kind of what I said. And also like I'm like free Palestine, absolutely, of course. But I had this one girl who I was like kind of friends with, whatever, on Instagram, like got very mad at me and unfollowed me because she felt like I was like pretty much saying like fuck Palestine. And I was like, I'm not really sure how you got that out of me saying basically like as human beings, we should all try to stand together and like oppressive governments that we disagree with. Like as Americans, we disagree with our government all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like held responsible for terrible things they do, you
Yeah.
know? It's like I don't personally and I don't know enough about politics at all, but
I
that's all
don't
I had
either.
said. And it like however it came off to some people, I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Like I don't apparently I do not know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in the I mean, in the very beginning, I made a
Yeah.
very ignorant statement, but I mean, this was like at the very start of it. And like also I don't keep in touch with things, but I was basically kind of pointing out how it's just interesting when you see like the population of people kind of conforming to things. So like I made this remark once I heard like something was going down. I didn't know the specifics. I just know that Israel was involved. So on Facebook, when I still had a Facebook, I made a comment like, "Oh, so I guess we're gonna start seeing Israeli stickers on people's profile pictures, huh?" And that was before I knew like all the other stuff. But I'm just like, it's just I was just kind of pointing out that like, you know, where the herd will follow whichever direction is, pointed at. It's just I just find society in general is just very interesting to me, especially nowadays. Um, yeah, I
It
just think
does
we're
feel
so
like,
disoriented.
well, even with stuff way less serious than that, just so we can get off that,
Yeah,
um, it does feel like this, I don't know if it's like the like hive mind,
yeah.
especially with TikTok, has become so like we don't have nuance to anything. It's like you have to either be this or this.
I think there's
Whereas
too
I
much
tend to
nuance,
follow,
don't you
see,
think?
I feel like we're like, I guess maybe I'm thinking more in this sense of like just trying to cancel someone for like one thing they say and like that
Got it.
kind of stuff where
Got
it's
it.
like I just feel like we have all, it's like I know I'm sure I've said things without thinking or whatever, and it's like if that's all you knew about me you might think I'm a bad person, and like I believe that I am not a bad person.
Right.
I think most people that know
Oh,
me would also agree.
again, right? I said this on another podcast with somebody else. I'm like, obviously, genocide is terrible. Like, all this shit is terrible. But it's just like, I don't know. It's like, why is it terrible to want to focus on our problems here? Like my thinking goes like this sometimes. It's like, everyone's like, oh, free Palestine and stuff, which is like, hey, that's great, man. Like, go for it. But it's just like, is that same, like, did that energy, was that same energy applied to when the drastic fires happened in Lahaina? Like, they had no help, you know, like, they needed help
Yeah.
and they had to rely on themselves. Like, the government didn't help them. We didn't help them, but we were sending billions and billions and billions of dollars overseas to like Ukraine and then Palestine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like we're we're trying to help these people on the other side of the world, which is great. But then like we have shit here too that needs some attention as well, possibly even
Yeah,
more attention. So I'm just like, we're so scattered.
that's the weird, that's the thing is like I I feel like America has this weird, I'm like not a it's gonna come on. Like I'm not a patriotic person. Like I love America and I understand, but like I don't care. Like I've just never been one of those people who feels like America's better than anyone else. Like I don't feel like I'm better than anyone else. I've never felt that. And
Yeah.
so I anytime people try to get real weird and patriotic, I'm like, I feel like we put on this front of who we want people to think we are. And it's like so different from who we, well, by we, I mean like the government,
Right.
but like who we actually are. And it does feel like we like think we're the greatest country in the world and we're hot shit and whatever. And it's like we have so many problems here,
Yeah.
but like we just feel like we have to like keep up with the Joneses, or like that's not really the right phrase, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we feel like we need to be involved in everyone's stuff and everyone needs to know our opinion on everything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what,
Yeah, we're just so
why?
stretched.
Like,
We're just stretched so
can we
thin.
like fuck off?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, can America just needs to like fuck off sometimes and like maybe like help our homeless population.
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying,
again,
right?
I want everyone to have help. I'm not saying that. It's like we all
Yeah.
should be able to live normal human lives in every country everywhere, but it's like
Yeah.
we I've seen so many more homeless people in the last few years than ever. And it's like
Dude,
everyone
yeah.
I know has less money than they have in a long time. And like,
Yeah.
it's just, there's so much stuff that we don't address here. Healthcare, like, I think healthcare is a human right personally. Like, and it's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know why America thinks that we like,
Have to save the
I don't
world.
know. I just think that's such a, yeah, I've always thought
I
that's
don't
such a
know.
weird thing. It's
I think it's
fuck
an ego
off.
thing.
Like, what are you talking about? It is an ego thing, and I don't know where it comes from because like we suck ass.
I think it's just, I think it's like what you said, like
I mean, we don't suck ass, I know, but like, you know what I mean?
but like America has had this front for so long that it's finally starting to come down, like we
Yeah,
can only like
everyone's
have
fronts
that.
are coming down.
Yeah. I
That sounded
but
weird. I don't know.
I agree with you though, right? We got the homeless issue. I mean, now we got like the immigrant issue. Like there's just so much things like so like there was something that Candace Owen said, and I know she's like I know a lot of people hate her. There are but there is something that I thought was very captivating. And it's like, yeah, let's say, your house is on fire and your neighbor's house is on fire. Who are you gonna like whose house are you gonna take care of first? You know? It's like why am I gonna take care of my neighbor's house if my house is on fire also? You know what I mean? It's just like you gotta, when you're in an airplane and you're going through turbulence and the masks come down, you gotta put your mask on first before you help the other person, right? I just think like the priorities are just a little, you know, they're a little mixed up
Yeah,
at the moment.
and like I agree with that to an extent, but then I think about what all the people are going through in Palestine, and like we will never understand how terrible something like that is,
Of course.
Like
But it's like
the fire is bigger. Their fire is a lot bigger than our fire. So
it
it's
is,
like,
but well, I mean, but then yeah, I don't know. Like I
also
I
I just
can't really
fucking
argue it
hate
because
Miyamoto.
I don't follow all of the news regarding it, but it's just like I don't know. I don't know what else to say to that, right? Because it's just like, I always hear people say like, yeah, if why don't you just go over there and help, right? It's just like I hate to say it, but sometimes that thought does come across my mind. It's like, yeah, like if it's such a concern, it's like, well, why don't you just go over there and help? Which is like, it's just I feel disgusting saying that, but it's just like I get it. It's terrible, but like we're here and I don't know, like it's just we have our problems too, especially amongst our
Yeah.
society. It's again, like you know, I'm not trying to defend like the
The
opposing
Daily
side or
Wire.
anything. I'm just yeah, I'm just saying like like what I mean, yeah, spread the awareness and stuff, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know
Well,
what I mean?
I agree actually. I'm on a weird, there's this girl that I follow on TikTok who I love. She's like a very good person, and but she's been doing this thing where she calls out specific influencers who have not said anything about Palestine.
Oh,
And
jeez.
yeah, so that in itself, I'm like, that's a lot. But she has gotten a lot of people to go through, I think it's called Pass the Hat or something. I don't know. But some organization that like gives you a family in Palestine that you can then like promote their GoFundMe to your followers, basically. And so I think that is like a cool, good thing to do if people have
Right.
extra money that they can donate. But there has been a thing of like, I saw this one influencer made a video to like her close friends on Instagram that got leaked of her pretty much being like, I don't know why anyone thinks that like I should be speaking on Palestine. Like she pretty
Mhm.
much was like, of course I stand with the people of Palestine, but like expecting me, who got famous for like being funny on the internet to like have this really eloquent take is weird. And I do, it's kind of like, do you know who like Tana Mojo is?
I don't go on TikTok.
Okay.
I don't really see these.
No, well, she's just someone she's been on YouTube forever, like,
oh, okay.
but she's like a hot mess, and she's really funny, and I like her, but she's literally like famous for being like a hot mess since she was like 16. And it's like, even some of her fans are starting to be like, why aren't you speaking on Palestine? And I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like, why are we wanting the person who like, I was just gonna say shit in a purse, and I literally don't know where I got that from. To my knowledge, she's never shit in a purse. But it's like, you know, think of like your most ratchet like friend that you wouldn't trust with a baby, and then you're like expecting them to like discuss world issues. And I'm like, I kind of get the point though. It's like, why? I don't know. I think it is a little weird to expect everyone to discuss these like really important things that are very nuanced. And there is like a right and a wrong, of course, but it's like, I don't know.
It's squirrely because I actually kind of had a similar take on that. Like, I was basically saying there are a lot of artists I follow because of their art, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now they're just activists now, and I'm just like, and I was just kind of saying like, you know, it's just a little turn off because like, you know, the people I started looking up to artistically, you know, I'll go to these people when I want to be inspired to create art, and it's just like every time I go on their thing, it's always politics and, you know, activism and all this stuff, and it's like, like you know, I'm just like, man, like I get it, right? You want to be supportive, you want to spread awareness, but it's like, dude, like now you're just an activist now. Like, are you even still making art? Like these thoughts like will like reel through my head, and I think that's kind of like similar to the thing. It's like, you know, like I don't know, like why is it terrible just to like focus on your thing, like on your craft, or like, you know, the thing that you started initially, like why does everyone have to become an activist when this stuff happens? I mean, again, right? I think it's okay to bring awareness and to show support.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, like imagine, right? If I don't know, like when you go, if you were look through my stories, generally you see what? Art, right? And like, what if suddenly every day is just like always, I'm just talking about, you know, the stuff now. Like if I made that drastic shift, it's just like, oh, all right. Like this is your focus now.
Well, and it's so hard to know if it's genuine for people, because I think if like, for instance, if you were like a Palestinian artist or something and you had family over there, I would totally understand. And I'm not saying you have to have family over there to care, but there is a sense sometimes when it's like people in the comments being like, why haven't you spoken up about this? I'm like, you're just like, do you actually care? Or do you just like want a reason to be mad at someone? Or like, do you want to just feel better than them? And it's like, I don't know how to word it. It's like, you can kind of tell sometimes who actually cares and who is just doing kind of like the herd mentality thing of like, this is what we care about right now. This is what we talk about right now. And it's like, right. But like when you're not on social media, I'm sure that's not the only thing you're talking about and caring about all the time. Like we all are living other lives.
Yeah.
And that probably is like a privileged thing to say because it's like the people in Palestine, that is their life right now. But I don't know. It's such a hard thing. It's so hard.
It's really
all of this
it's
out.
hard. And it's just like, it's hard to be like the correct one, right? It's just like,
I never think I'm right. Just for the record,
I don't either.
I'm like anyone who thinks they're right, I'm like, I don't trust you. If you are one of those people who goes around constantly with like a I am right mindset on anything. Even if I agree with you, I'm a little like, I
Oh
don't know about
no.
you.
Oh no. I mean, I like to think I'm very open about being wrong about things, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like so yeah, I mean, people could say they're seeing more Filipino stuff in my post, but it's like, hey, I'm Filipino, so like, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's tricky, and like it got to the point for me where I went to like my one friend who's Jewish, and I'm like, yo, like, it was like, am I a piece of shit for not, being very vocal about this situation? And she's just like, look. Like you're not gonna be able to win either way. Like even if you
That's
do say
yeah.
something, someone's gonna complain about you not saying enough. So it's just like, and she's like, and your content was never like very focused on world issues and stuff like that. So she's like, I would never expect you to be very forefront about this stuff. I'm like, all right, that kind of like adds a little bit of relief because like I care, but it's like I'm sorry, I just I I gotta take care of my stuff too. Like that's just the only way I can kind of like
Well, that's
make
part of
logic of
it
it.
for me is like I have such bad anxiety and I'm so like in my head all the time. I'm like in fight or flight mode, just like sitting on the couch. For some reason, that's just how my body is.
Are you in
So
fight or flight mode right now? Which one are you?
I'm in, I guess, fight because I'm not leaving. I'm in cry mode right now, just gonna cry. That's what I have. I don't have fight or flight. I have like cry or flight. But there is a sometimes when I get too much news of any kind, it's like I am just already there's already so much happening at all times in here for me,
Right.
just living life normally, that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I am like watching, letting bad friends run in the background and stuff, like my boyfriend will even be like, how do you just like watch this all day? And I'm like, because if I need to like
Decompress.
just have silly shit sometimes because the world is very sad and scary and
Yeah.
bad things happen. And I need to like, that's just how I am. I'm not
Yeah.
someone who can be like learning all the time and whatever. Sometimes I just need to like listen to Andrew and Bobby yell at each other. Like sometimes I need that.
Oh, I totally resonate with that. And like I do the
Yeah.
same thing too. I mean, it's why I still watch cartoons, especially 90s cartoons as of late, because it just takes
Which
me
one?
to huh?
Which cartoons?
Oh geez, don't get me started on that. Like
Let's go.
I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s. So it might be stuff like I mean like now I'm
Oh,
like
I'm
kind
so
of
young. I wasn't alive.
no, but I mean, do you know about Bucky O'Hare, the alien green bunny, or like
I probably
Silverhawks or Street Sharks?
did you watch like SpongeBob? I watched SpongeBob.
Yeah, but that's more late 90s.
I know, but I okay. No, I
Like I'm
don't know.
saying, the
I don't
stuff
know any of the things you just said.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've got I was like really into cartoons on Cartoon Network. So Dexter's Laboratory, Cow and
Oh
Chicken,
yeah,
Bravo, Nickelodeon stuff.
loved
Even though
Dexter. Yeah.
Nickelodeon is not looking too good right now, but I grew
I
up on
know, and I was a
Rugrats.
Nickelodeon kid.
Yeah,
I was a
same.
Nickelodeon kid.
I
Yeah.
was a Nickelodeon kid before Cartoon Network. I mean, even before Cartoon Network was Cartoon Network, it used to be Boomerang. But like, I grew up
Yeah.
on Rugrats and uh
Rugrats was like my favorite show of all time for a
yeah.
long time.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, so anyway, I watch old cartoons just because it takes me to a
Mhm.
nostalgic place where shit wasn't so serious. And man, the time's got to be crazy when we're talking about this shit right now. Because if you go back in our previous podcast, we just the shit we talked about then was, not as heavy.
I know.
Oh
Well,
no, but I mean these are like real world issues, but yeah, I mean I just yeah, I don't know, like it's sad because like I feel like I have to like really edit myself to like
I know I'm
sound like a
literally
good.
like, okay, timestamp
I
here. This is for
just
you later. Start about an hour ago and go till now and cut it all out.
no, but it's just like, oh man, if only I can like, because I had a one of my recent podcasts was with a therapist, and we were kind of like talking about this. It's just like, look, man, you gotta like, sometimes you really gotta just look like be just take care of yourself and not always worry about everything else. Like you
Yeah,
gotta sometimes
I have
look
a
out for
really
number
hard
one.
time with that.
There was actually something from like that one. Oh man, that was a two-parter because like we did like 5 hours, and it was like a really good, very like therapeutic podcast. Like I try to recommend that to anybody that's like just going through like mental shit. But like there was something that he said that was very profound, and it was like,
It's important to contextualize and not universalize. It's easy because it feels very simple and clean to kind of universalize and be like, well, it's always this and never that. The reality is that it's shades of gray that are in between.
yeah,
And wholly speaking, in New England, it's much more of a there's an actions instead of a words, and down here it's words more so than actions. You have to have a much closer relationship with people before you really get the goods.
and that's what we need
Yeah.
to like really realize and understand. So I just kind of want to like just leave it at that, whatever you're talking about, just understand that contextual, like context is super important. And just because you said something about one thing doesn't mean that's your belief on all the other things. Like we are
And
able,
also, we are all allowed to learn and grow and change our opinion on things. Or if
absolutely.
someone says to us, like, hey, I think you don't know exactly what you're talking about, and then explains it, you're allowed to be like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit wrong when I said that. Because I say a lot of stuff. I just talk sometimes. And then sometimes, literally, while I'm talking, I think in my head, I do not agree with what I'm saying right now. Like sometimes I just talk,
Jeez.
and then later I'm like, I don't even know, like, what
Oh no.
are we talking about? And so I feel like, first of all, I probably need to work on saying things that I don't mean, but
Possibly.
it does feel, yeah, it feels like we need to like, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Social media is just
the thing you said about being like the parasocial thing, like that's a real thing too. Like, and that I think,
I'm
yeah,
so
like,
parasocial with so many people.
well, like it's just like
I'll admit
having a real discussion is like is very important. So being able to do this, what you and I are doing right now, like
yeah.
that's important. So like the fact that I shared that shit before, like, I mean, look, I hope we're still cool, but it's just like I'm always open to like correcting myself and trying to right the wrongs, and I'm very open to trying to be better, but like if I say or do something wrong, like if you're my friend, I'd hope that you'd keep me accountable at it and at least try to like have a word with me rather than slander my name, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Well,
like
and that's the thing too, is like, for instance, how we were talking about how there's like even podcasters where we like them, but we don't want to see them on stage or whatever. I think with podcasts and TikTok and how we feel like we know everybody so well now. And
yeah,
like we kind of do to an extent.
to an extent, yeah.
So it's like even when like I am fairly liberal, and so a lot of the people that I like sometimes will be like, "Oh, I hate Theo Vaughn," and because they just lump him in as being like a Joe Rogan type of like
Oh,
conservative and
okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even okay, Joe Rogan. I know you're a fan of Joe Rogan, That's an example of someone who a lot of the people I like and listen to just kind of right off the bat are like, oh, okay, fuck Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's more nuanced than that. It's like
Yeah.
I don't listen to him all the time, but I used to listen to him more, and I've listened to him enough to understand that like you're gonna take these salacious clips and make it out to him being this like person who hates this type like XYZ people.
Right.
And it's like
Well,
he
people
has
label
these
him
like
as like a
long
harsh
ass
Republican.
podcasts. Well, yeah, it's just people are of course there are people that are just terrible people, but most people aren't.
Yeah.
And it's like most people, if you give them a chance or you push back or whatever, you can find out why they feel that way, or that maybe they had an experience that made them feel a certain way, or like whatever. I think most people aren't just trying to like be terrible people.
Yeah.
And so obviously we don't all agree on everything, and politics is like important to an extent, I guess, like to inform how you view the world. But I feel like most people will say a lot of stuff online and then you see them in person and it's like they're a nice person, they're going to be nice to you. Like am I making sense? I feel like I just went
No,
off on
you
a
are.
tangent and then kind of
No,
okay.
no, you make sense. The one, so here's the thing, right? Because yeah, when like if you mention Joe Rogan's name, especially around a
It's
liberal,
very polarizing.
yeah. But it's like here's the one. This is the if I were to pick one thing I like about Joe Rogan is that he's willing to spend hours with
He'll
someone that
talk
he
to anybody.
disagrees with. Yeah, with anybody, with someone he totally disagrees with. They'll have a a civil debate with them. Sure, it might get loud, whatever, but like, it's better than just freaking typing away in the comments or whatever. Like you're having like and sometimes those things come out, with flying colors. Like you end up having an understanding of each other, even if you still have a disagreement. Like that's something I like. I respect Joe Rogan for, and that's why I like, that's something I would like to I kind of strive for too, especially with podcasting. Like I want to, I want to be able to like sit down with people that I might not agree with on certain topics. But yeah, but I guess because by appearance and I don't know, maybe of whatever clips they heard from him, they kind of label him as like a Republican, I guess. But he's always been a
Yeah.
liberal. So it's like it's just weird.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, like I've never really been one to like say I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican or I'm a whatever. But now I'm like I find myself, and I stole this from a comedian, funny enough, Joe List, where he says he's like I'm like a 90s liberal, like because like
Yeah.
back then, like, liberals were kind of like, yeah, like everything was cool, right? But they weren't so like tribal about things. Like I don't it's like I mean I don't even know how to describe it now, but it's just like I'm cool. I'm very neutral on a lot of things. Like I get it. Like I want to be open to hearing both sides. I don't fully believe on just supporting one party. Like
Well,
everyone
yeah.
has a flaw, you know. So that's all I'm gonna say in regards to like where I stand in politics. Like I believe I'm neutral, and that's not to say like I don't have conservative views on things. Like I definitely have some conservative views, but I also have some very like liberal views. So it's like I don't know. Now I'm not making sense, I feel like.
Yeah. Have you ever do you like Harry Potter?
I watched the first, how many films are there? Three, five, or six? I watched like the
There's
first three.
8.
What? There's eight? Really?
Yeah, bitch, there's 8.
All right, well, whoa.
Let's see if I can do this in order.
Oh,
There's the Sorcerer's Stone,
yeah,
Chamber of Secrets. Ah, shit.
you fucked
I
up.
can't do it in order, but let's just see if I can do it. The Never mind. I shouldn't have started this. Wait,
I've seen
the
a few
Deathly
movies.
Hallows.
but
The
The Chamber.
yeah, there's 8.
Secret of Chamber.
There's 7 books. I already said that, Chamber of Secrets.
Oh.
But there's 7 books, but 8 movies because the 7th. Anyway.
There's a 2-parter, right?
Yeah, when I was home taking care or whatever, hanging out with my mom, I don't want to say taking care, that feels weird, but since we were spending so much time together just like chilling, I decided to, because she's always, I feel like I'm the perfect Harry Potter age. Like I'm in that age of like when those came out, I was at the right age to like, I went to midnight premieres and did all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she thinks they're okay, but always kind of makes fun of me for how much I would watch them growing up. So I was like, you're going to sit here and you're going to watch every single Harry Potter film. And then of course we got to the second to last one and she ended up being like, okay, these are better than I thought they were. I was like, see, this is why people love them. They're not bad. Like they're whatever. Where I was going was, okay, but if you're not a fan, I was going to say, which Harry Potter house are you?
Oh, I think I'm oh man, we had this discussion with a friend over here. Shit. What's the house that's like,
Slytherin?
huh? No, that's not me. That's my wife. I'm more of what's like the one
I
that's
don't
kind
want
of
to
like,
hang out with your wife.
huh?
Oh, you're okay, so you're either a Hufflepuff or a
I think I'm
Griffin.
a
Or no, you're
Hufflepuff.
not a Gryffindor. You're either
I think I'm
okay.
Hufflepuff. Well, just based off of my personality and stuff. Well, I
Okay,
guess that's
but
how
you
it works.
haven't taken the online test that sorts you into a house.
No, I'm not that interested. And I will say
Okay, then
this, and here in the Toronto house, we are Lord of the Rings fans, okay?
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God. Now
Well,
here, how about this? Would you
I've
ever
seen
sit
the
down and
first
watch
one,
it?
but it was what?
Would you ever sit down and watch them?
Yeah, so I've seen, like, of course it's one of those things that like of course I'm very aware of it. But the first time, so my boyfriend loves them. And the first time he was like, he did what I did to my mom. He was like, we're gonna watch these, was right before everyone found out about COVID. And all of a sudden we're like halfway through this movie and both of us are like, I've never felt this tired before in my life. This is so weird. And like passed out and then found out a few days later that like we both had COVID and I had it really bad. So when like the first time we got like halfway through Lord of the Rings movie and I was like, we need to pause this. Like I'm going to die. And so that's what happened. That's what stopped
wait,
it.
did he make you watch the original cut or the theatrical release?
Probably the original cut. He's like a big nerd.
Okay,
So
because then I mean that'd be reasonable to feel that way.
it was like 4 hours or something.
Yeah. So that's the full cut version. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Have I done that? I feel like I've done that. I'm trying to think of a show or a movie that I did that with Nicole. The only thing that comes in mind was Avatar: The Last Airbender series. Because she's not very into cartoons and stuff like that. But once I got her started, she was all in. That's
what I didn't watch Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones until COVID. I had never seen either of them. And now have you never seen either of them? Okay, well, you should. I think it sounds like you'd for sure like Game of Thrones.
Everyone says that, but here's the thing I don't like about myself. And that is when people do that to me or with me, we're like, you got to see this. I think you'd love it. Like when I hear that numerous times, my rebelliousness is like, nah, I'm good.
That's why I didn't watch either of those. Because I was like, there's no way these shows are that good. Like you guys are all just like fucking annoying.
But that's the thing. Like I'm fully aware of how good they are. I just refuse just because of the sole principle of like so many people told me I should watch it. I'm not gonna watch it because this
That's
because it
that's like that's why I hadn't watched either of them. Or I mean, I don't know if that's why, but that played into why I hadn't watched either until COVID, and then I finally was like,
but
okay, I have
also
nothing to
like
do.
but I'm very because like well because Nicole watched it. She got very hooked on it. And
Game
you
of
know, I'd
Thrones.
see clips here and there, but then after witnessing the disappointment of the finale, I'm like, why would I want to go get through this entire show just to be
Yeah,
disappointed at the end?
yeah. See, I had somehow made it like I had avoided it so much that I didn't even know how it ended. Like
Oh, okay.
I I think part of why I didn't watch it was because it felt so overwhelming. Like there's so much, and all of the episodes are like at least an hour, and I just was like, I feel like there's just too much, and I missed it, and it's like too late, and now I can't watch it. But then COVID, and so I was like, okay, I guess I have time.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're both Breaking Bad is, I mean, they're both probably some of my favorite shows, but I love Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I'm like so man, I'm really weird about shows because like I'm all over the place, and then like on shows where you would think I'd be hooked on, like I'm not about it. So like, so especially when Game of Thrones was like, I don't want to say just starting, but like when I was focusing on just zombie art, people would be like, "Oh, you should watch Game of Thrones because they got white zombies in there, White
Oh, I thought you were
Walkers."
gonna say Walking Dead.
No, but I mean, well, I watched Walking Dead too, but I fell off at a certain point. But like people would just try to be
Yeah,
like, "Hey, you love zombies? They got these White Walkers in Game of Thrones. I think you should watch." I'm like, like it's like
they're
I
not
don't.
like zombies like that. I mean, they are, but I would never think it's not. Yeah, it's different.
Well, I think they just like use the label like zombies. Oh, geez, gonna automatically love this. Like, no, like like the only thing I love about zombie, like I just mainly watch like old zombie movies. Like, well, Walking Dead is one exception, but again, I fell off of that. But
Did you watch Beef?
we started that and then we stopped for some reason and just never started again,
It's you should start it.
or like go back to it. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I don't know why we
because I think that was a show actually too that the first episode or so in, I was like, okay, like I was like,
yeah.
it's like fine. I kind of
I
had to
mean, it's
force
got its
myself to
good
keep watching
parts.
it, but it was
Yeah.
really good. Steven Yeun is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like again, I'm just like pretty scattered. Like I don't know. We're also like maybe not so much now, but we were like really in this like Asian kick lately. Like a lot of stuff we were watching was like Japanese shows and stuff. So like I don't know. We go
Beef
through
is
these like
Asian.
phases. Huh?
Beef is Asian.
No, I know, but I mean like, like we got really hooked on Shogun, which people claim it as,
I
the
we
Japanese
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, right? Um,
Mhm.
but there's also this show called Warrior, um, on Netflix. That's like another like that's like a favorite show of mine. Um,
I feel
but
like I either heard Bobby or Kalila talk about that.
it's I mean, well, because I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, so that show um was scripted by Bruce Lee, but it never came to fruition at the time because like studios didn't think it would work. Um, but then his daughter, made this show work out. So, and it's really good. It's a very interesting story. But what else? I don't know. And then there's just like a bunch of like Japanese movies that like we had been watching. So it's just like I don't know. It's it's like I don't know. I wouldn't even be able to tell you like what my favorite type of shows are. It's just like it's very like sporadic.
Yeah. Yeah. I just watched half of Baby Reindeer and then kind of stopped, but it was good. It was really good, but
I've been hearing about that as well.
it's really interesting, and it's like based on a true story, which I think makes it more interesting. But
Yeah.
I did get to a point with it a little bit where I was like, okay,
Yeah, I don't know. And there's just so much. There's too much stuff.
that's the thing is there is too much.
Yeah. Jesus. My goodness. How are you on time?
I'm chilling. Lily, the dog, keeps looking at me. I think she has to pee, but other than her time clock, I'm fine.
Um,
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
well, I wanted to see how how your business has been working out. The jewelry making, because I've been seeing the stuff you've been sharing. You're working with different styles now, and even the way you make things, like you don't sculpt everything by hand anymore, right? You make molds now,
Um,
jewelry.
I have been using more molds. I think I just got in like a weird rut and was kind of like, I don't know, it's just hard sometimes to feel inspired and like especially when, you know, I'm sure we've talked about it before. I don't know, but the weird place of being in the middle of like making things that you love and
Mm,
also making things that people will buy. And um I get I have a hard time with that because I don't know, I definitely could work more on like marketing. Like I'm not very good at that. And I get, I'll go through phases of just like not posting at all, which
yeah,
doesn't really work when you're trying to sell stuff online.
yeah.
But like it's kind of a weird thing because I feel like some of the stuff that this is gonna sound bad. Some of the stuff that I make, I don't I don't want to say I don't like,
Mm,
but I like don't know that I would buy.
interesting.
And so
The
yeah,
stuff now, or the stuff like your older stuff?
I'm kind of talking more about the um like the gummy bears or
Oh,
the
you didn't like the gummy
like
bears?
well, I think they're cute and I like that people like them. Um but sometimes some of the stuff I make, I don't know, and I go through this weird thing of feeling like, especially because I went to school for art, so I'm like, I'll see all these people who are doing this like incredible realistic oil painting, and then I'm like, here's my gummy bear earrings.
Yeah, but that's your mistake right off the bat, is comparing
I
yourself.
know. Oh, that's all I do though. It's hard
I
not to on
I
social
get it.
media.
Well, I think we
Yeah.
we all naturally do that, but it's very important to like catch yourself and be like, hey, like that's not your thing, so don't even worry about it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it too, is just like I keep wanting to like have a thing. And then sometimes I'm like, maybe I just don't have a thing. Maybe I'm just one of those people who like does a lot of different stuff. And that's cool
Well,
too. And I just need to like accept that. I don't know.
so, I mean, there's nothing wrong with have like different things, right? Or like different styles or
Yeah.
whatever it may be, right? I mean, you look at my catalog of work, it's like portraits, and then it's food portraits, and then it's cartoons, comics, whatever. So something valuable that I learned through this online academy is understanding your person and your story, and try to understand a deeper meaning as to why you make the things you make, and how it is that you can serve your people, the people that support you, that invest in you, like how it is that, and it's not even just like making things they want, because sometimes we don't know what we want, but it's just like
Yeah.
finding a way to bridge that gap, so that they it's like it's letting them know who you are, and it's like, this is who I am, and this is how I express myself, this is why I make this thing. um you know um I mean, and it's easier said than done. Like this is like
Yeah.
something I'm still trying to not perfect, but like something I'm still refining is just like finding my language to, tell my story. It's like and it's draining. There's definitely burnout periods, but it does become
Yeah.
easier when you have more of an understanding of what it is that you're doing. And like I don't want to make assumptions or anything, but like I imagine that might be like where you're that like that dilemma of where you're entering is like sort of like why am I making these things perhaps? Am I wrong? Am I anywhere near?
No, I think it's also like, um, like for instance, I'll work on something that I think is really cool and people will really like, and then it like doesn't sell, and then you like work on something that you're like just kind of throw together and everyone's obsessed with it and buys a bunch of it. And you're kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do here. Like and I think that's probably just part of being an artist too. But
I mean, but it wouldn't hurt to like try to dissect that, and be like, all right, what is it about this one item that drew everyone in? And then like try to analyze and be like, why did I make that in the first place? Because like there's got to be
yeah.
one thing in there where you both connect, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean that definitely happens. I think it's just I also like am really hard on myself a lot of the time, and
Okay.
I think especially because I have always worked for nonprofits and like done that kind of stuff, that sometimes making art feels silly or something. And I
Mm.
need to be okay with sometimes I'm just doing something because it's fun. Like I'm allowed to just make something because I like how it looks or because I think it's fun to do. And I think like sometimes
Well, not even
I
just
feel like
fun, but I would say something that's like important to you too, you know? Like there's
but that's the thing is I think I like want everything to be important to me when that's like not going to happen. That's not
got it.
realistic. I mean, it's like if that was what I was doing, I'd only be posting something like every 6 months,
Right.
instead of like sometimes I just get to have fun and play with things and like it's not always going to work and that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah. I agree though. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to I mean, there's certainly gonna be periods when you're gonna keep throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, right? Like, you know, that
yeah.
that's like that you're no matter what you do, that's gonna be the case. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish I could think of, find the words that can like help you there. Um, yeah, I don't know. You know, maybe you just gotta
Thank you.
Fuck. I'm trying to be supportive here and I don't know what to say. No, I don't know.
No,
Like I
well,
think it might just be some like inner thing that you might have to like discover yourself. Who knows?
yeah. And that's cool too.
So I do want to ask you, this might put you on the spot.
Okay.
What's good with
Wait,
that?
whatever. I don't know that I like this. I don't like this.
What?
What are you asking?
What?
You're like, it's like making me nervous. Like, what are you going to ask?
What's good with that cheeseburger necklace?
I I have it, but I think it's too big.
All right. That's right. Yo, but I've told you that I don't care. Like I don't think it was too big. I'm pretty sure you showed me a photo. And I said, "Nah, that's just fine." Because
Okay,
if
well,
it's a
yeah, I'll
money
send it.
thing, I'll
No,
because I'm
no, I'll
because
send it to you. You can have it for free.
no,
You
no,
just
no,
pay for
no. I
shipping.
don't do that.
No,
I
no,
don't do that.
because
I ain't doing that. Don't
it's
do
been
that.
a very long time and I should have given it to you by now.
Yeah, but I
So,
never paid you, so like the transaction never happened. I
right,
don't
but
do
if you
that.
just pay for shipping, then we're fine.
Well, how much? No, I want to do this the proper way. Now, obviously, I've been having money issues myself, but I assure you, I want to do things the right way. Don't.
Yeah, but you bought stuff from me before. It's not like you've never bought anything from me. You bought something for your wife.
Yeah, but okay, but still,
We can talk about this later.
fine. You don't want the people to know? No, I'm kidding.
No, anyone who's bought from me already knows.
Well, don't don't do any favors for me. I want to be supportive.
Thank you so much. But
Did that make you feel awkward?
yeah,
Well, I'm
I'm
just
like,
trying to be a
but
supportive friend.
yeah, but it's been such a long time that I'm the one who's wrong in this situation.
No, I don't.
So,
No one is wrong in this situation. You know.
okay, you said
So
it.
yeah, it's just if anything, I'll be truthful to you. Like the only reason I just my money is coming and going so fast. It's like
Yeah,
that's why I haven't paid you, to be honest. Like I just
you
whatever.
don't have to explain that to me.
Okay. Because like that, and I think I even offered like if you wanted like a down payment or something before you even got started. Like
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I just am I'm terrible at all of a business person. So,
Yeah. Um.
yeah.
Oh, so there was a comment on our last podcast together that somebody, and I don't know if this was like a friend of yours or maybe a family member or one of your supporters, but someone said that you and I have like Bobby Lee vibes together or like Tiger Belly vibes or something like that.
I'm just gonna assume it was my mom,
Oh,
but um just because but like if not, then I don't know.
hmm. Your
I
mom's.
just feel like my parents still like my mom earlier this week was texting me saying she was watching one of our old episodes and like my dog was reacting to me being on the TV and was like texting me updates about it. So like
Oh,
they still
oh,
watch quite often.
well, I appreciate that. I mean, they're watching for you, but it's helping me too. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, because I thought that was a funny comment. But yeah, thanks to someone in the comments and whatnot, because I discovered something very interesting about you as well, or at least about your past.
I think we've done this before.
Privately, but not on the podcast.
Ah, dang it.
Oh yeah.
Then that was my mom. That was definitely my mom.
Someone had a very beautiful singing voice back in the day.
No, I
Boy,
still do, but like, excuse you, I still do.
okay.
I just, um,
So,
yeah,
what's
I was like a competitive singer in high school, and
interesting?
yeah,
Huh.
yeah, I used to want to be. I was actually voted like most likely to be on Broadway or something, which would never happen because I've projectile vomited on stages like 3 different times. So, um, but
That actually
but
sounds familiar. I think you may have said that to me in text.
it's yeah, it was before I was medicated for anxiety. I used to
Oh,
vomit a lot. But yeah,
okay.
I love singing and I love music and I've always wanted I wish I just didn't get so I just like can't sing in front of people. I get so nervous, like
Perform
weirdly nervous.
performance anxiety.
Yeah. But not even like performance. Like if you and I were sitting here in the same room right now and you were like, sing something, I like couldn't. It would be very hard for me to do that. And I don't know what I don't know why, because it's weird, but
I think that's natural though. Like, who likes to be put on a spot like that? No comedian
yeah,
wants to be like told to tell a
tell a
joke.
joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's natural to, you know,
Yeah.
react that way. I just thought that was
So
very.
yeah, sorry.
So
the
you're not gonna
the
sing
jig
for
is
the
up. I have a
podcast?
beautiful voice. What?
You're not gonna sing for the podcast? I'm
Fuck
kidding.
no.
Okay.
You can fuck yourself. You can insert a clip here. Just kidding.
Oh, that's so funny. Um, but back to jewelry. I do back to jewelry. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I say this, and this is probably gonna make you feel uncomfortable, but I will say uh I admire that you're still doing it, and you're going different route. What? Despite
Feels like
everything
a
that you just
backhanded
said.
compliment.
Huh?
It feels like you're like, even after all of this failure,
Well,
you're
I'm not
still
even saying you're
doing it.
failing, but like it just seemed you're kind of like in a I don't know, what would the phrase be?
I'm definitely in like a quarter life crisis right now or something. I don't know.
Whatever it may be, you're still creating. So pat yourself on the back for that. And I like
Thank
the
you.
stuff that you've been making. So I just think you just once you discover what I don't even want to say niche, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I think you're still trying to discover something about yourself, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I am.
Because like I was actually thinking about this earlier. I'm like, do you still illustrate? Because you do illustration
Yeah, I
also.
actually just recently have been drawing a little bit more, but
Interesting. Now, why is that?
I don't know actually.
Hmm.
I think I always wished I was a better drawer, like because I I'm like a okay doodler and cartoons and stuff, but um that's always something that I've like wanted to practice more and be better at. So
Now let me
I
ask, why is that?
I I don't know. I think just because well, I think a lot of it comes down to in everything I do, like what's in my head and then what I'm able to produce are so different sometimes.
Mhm.
And I'm like, damn, I have such good ideas. I have the coolest ideas. But when it comes to actually executing those ideas, a lot of the time it does not meet my expectations.
Okay.
So it just would be awesome to draw something. And I mean, and I have definitely drawn things in the past and been like, wow, I actually think I like how that looks, or I think I did a good job. But um I just also like grew up so much doing graphic art. Like I taught myself Photoshop in like middle school and stuff. So I have that down. Like for the most part, I can do just about anything in Photoshop. But when it comes to physical, like making art with my hands, specifically, I guess drawing, sometimes I'm like, damn it, I could do this so much better in Photoshop, but I would love to just be able to like draw this and be like really psyched with how it looks, you know?
Hmm. Interesting.
Is it?
No, it is. Like because
Okay.
I'm curious. Like I mean, if it's not obvious enough, like I like to, dive deep on like, why this? Like why did this suddenly become a thing, right? So I'm curious.
Yeah. I I I don't know. And I think because of social media, you uh get so many different like inspirations, or some random person will pop up and you're like, holy shit, that's so cool. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, actually, you know what it was? There was this guy on TikTok who was doing like murals in people's houses for them.
Hmm.
And um my dog is
I
whining
can
if you
hear.
can hear that. And he was on live just painting live in front of everyone, and it was like incredible. And I think it was him doing that where I was like, that I kind of want to draw a little bit. And so started drawing a little bit more after that happened. And then he said he's been drawing since 2018. And I was like, okay, fuck, like that's crazy. I've been drawing since way before 2018 and I am not this good, but
it's not crazy though. Because
no, I know. I just was like, well, you're very talented and I am not, but like I'm
I would
not
even
in the same
argue-
way.
Yeah. Well, I would even argue against that too. Like, I mean, I'm not doubting that this person is talented, but I imagine whatever I'm sure he did his time. Like he put in that time to just get better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, like you've been spending all this, not all this time, but you've been trying to hone in on your jewelry making. Let's say you put in that intention and focus on drawing, like,
Yeah.
So and that's and
Yeah.
this is probably gonna be like an ongoing theme moving forward with the podcast is talking about just like whether someone is just talented or like when something is just talent or it's like building up the skill, because
Mhm.
I'm more so leaning towards like, I mean, I think everyone's talented. I've said this before on the pod, but I think everyone is talented, but it's just like, all right, now where's your intention? Is it to get better at the thing that you're talented at, or is it just gonna be spent on another interest, another hobby? Like,
Yeah.
so who knows? Um, because there was like a YouTuber I'd see, I forget his name. But he was literally drawing every day, and he was not like an art, like he wasn't he's not known to be like an artist. I don't think he had any like actual like skill, but he would
Mhm.
document each day, and he was drawing anime, and it was very evident like he was getting progressively better and better and better every time, and it's just like,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's just I always say you put in the reps or whatever. You just got to keep practicing. So I mean, you can get there if you really wanted to, but you like to do other things too. You have other creative endeavors. That's the thing. We beat
Yeah.
ourselves up for not being better at, what we would want, but it's like, if we really wanted it, we would have, we would have done it, right? I think,
Yeah. And it's like I want to be good at so many different things. So I probably have not spent the appropriate amount of time for like practicing drawing. And then I'm like, why am I not incredible at this? And it's like, well, because a lot of people spend like all day, every day practicing, and that's why they're incredible. And I certainly don't spend all day, every day practicing.
yeah,
Like,
for sure. I
yeah.
mean, I would so like I'm gonna use this not as an analogy, but like to it's like a parallel thing where like martial arts, right? There'll be a gym full of all of these mixed martial artists and like one coach. And if that one coach spends majority of their time on one fighter, that fighter is gonna be the best one in that gym. But if he's able to put his time in all of his fighters, they're all gonna be very good. So it's the same thing about our creative endeavors. Like if we want to be good at something, you just gotta hone in on that. But if like it's just like a matter of like prioritizing our actual interests in what with our creativity. It's like what is the thing you really want to be good at, you know?
Yeah.
And that's hard, man. It's fucking hard and it's complicated. But I think it's important to like keep remembering. It's like, what do I really want to be good at? What do I want to show to the people? What do I want to serve to the people? Especially when we try to run a business. And
Yeah.
yeah. And I
That's
know
a
you
whole,
hate making reels, but that shit helps.
I know. I hate it.
No,
I hate it because I have an expectation for myself that it's going to look a certain way, and then mine never look aesthetically pleasing like I want them to. And I'm like, well, what?
uh
phone, like I have an iPhone just like everybody else. This should not look like this, you
Yeah,
know?
well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's just you being a harsh, you know, be,
Oh,
what am I
yeah,
trying
that's
to
how
say?
I am.
Very critical of
Harsh
yourself.
critic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Is Georgie. She
Hi.
loves me, obviously. She was sleeping that whole time. Come here, come here. Do you say hi?
Hi, Georgie.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I get it.
She's made it hard to do just about anything also, so there's that.
Mm. So you're still like freelancing and stuff, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, my like best friend has a nonprofit in Kansas City, and I do work for her and then do work for just various different people. And yeah, so
okay,
that, I mean, that's obviously graphic design stuff. That's not jewelry, but
right. So
yeah,
how do you make time for your jewelry?
there's time.
Okay.
I'm not working nearly enough right now, so there's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time.
I'm just
Uh,
I always ask that question just because a lot of people have, usually have a day job and then they have their passion where not me. I I do this full time, but I don't have I don't have an income. But I'm
yeah, you and
always
I are in a similar boat, I think.
I guess. I guess so.
No, we pretty much are.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then
it's
like
not
how do
great.
you
Not a great boat to be in
it's not um
financially, anyway.
huh?
Financially, anyway.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, do you live by yourself or do you live with your boyfriend?
I live with my boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Well, at
Hmm.
least you have that security, right? So at least
Hmm.
you have someone that can
Yeah.
support you. Like I always fucking shit on myself or like I always just, call myself a deadbeat. My wife has a real career and I'm just here fucking trying to make something out of myself and it's not working.
Yeah, but
No,
I
I
feel like
shouldn't say that. But
you're always doing stuff though.
yeah, but it's like that's just the that's just how I trick you. No, I'm kidding. You're like I am always doing something, but when you take a look at my bank account, it's like, oh, it's really not it's not really quite working
Yeah.
out, huh?
That's the scariest part about being an artist is some months I'm like, wow, okay. And then other months I'm like,
I mean, even just like being a
someone needs to
business
shoot me in the
owner,
head.
being an artist and being a
Yeah.
business owner too, like so yeah, like yeah, this year's been a rough start. Like I'm hoping things are gonna pick up. Like I got these
Yeah,
events
me
booked
too.
now, but you know, like I'm in the point of like I just hope I can break even. If I can break even, I'll be all right, but it's once I start making a little profit, my self-esteem will start kicking up a little bit
Yeah.
again.
That is a big part of it. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
like I've done a few events recently and they just have been so slow here. I don't know. And like a couple of them I have not broken even. And it just feels like this was such a waste of time, you know?
Now,
And
is
it's
that
really hard to not get down on yourself.
well, there could be a lot of factors that result in that. I mean, like, well,
I mean, a few of
um,
them, it genuinely was like just not that many people showed up to the
so
event,
that's
like,
that's
period.
sort of where I was getting at, like, because I
Yeah.
mean, the way these events are promoted, um,
Sometimes not promoted really at all.
yeah, well, that's what I mean, like, just promotion in general, location, um, I kind of did this like little PSA on the last episode because I did two events that well, one wasn't promoted that much. The other one, they were pushing this one thing so much and really didn't put spotlights on their vendors.
Mhm.
And I think that like I didn't make any money and I paid a lot of money for that spot.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, it was like $100 for space. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, there goes that. And then now every event I'm doing moving forward is pretty much trying to make the money that I lost from like, I mean, April's been like real, like, so
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just trying to catch up and just trying to make up the money that I lost. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's just like how the coordinators are promoting their events and promoting their vendors. Like, you got to do that because how else do you expect to have a positive turnout, for the event? So, and of course, like
Yeah.
each vendor's got to do their part too. But yeah, there's so many factors into like why, and weather too. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into like,
And just like everybody's poor right now,
yeah. Well, there's
which is
one
like
thing that I
fair.
learned. There was one little tip that I got from a vendor is that events that happen on what is it that she said? She's like, pay attention to events that are happening on like the second week in a month because that's usually when people are getting paid. So when it's like happening
Um,
around that time, like you have a better chance of actually selling something as opposed to like any
yeah,
random thing.
that makes
But
sense.
but like also like I don't you're right, you're in Spokane,
Hmm.
correct? Yeah, so I don't know what
Yeah.
the market's like over there, but here it's so saturated. Like there are literally at least five events happening in one time. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone, I mean, I get competitive because I'm just like, fuck, like all this traffic is probably going to this thing here but yeah, it's tough being a vendor, that's for sure, you know.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. I mean, yeah, it's because like the last thing you hold on to as a vendor is like, all right, if I don't make money, that sucks. But if I don't make money and don't have any interactions with people, that really sucks. Because that's like the last thing
Yeah.
I hold on to when I'm doing events. I'm like, if I don't have any conversations with people about art or like just common interests, like I'm really gonna be like a little suicidal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You're like, at least someone took a business card or something. I don't know.
yeah. Well, that used to be my thing. Is like I would always tell Nicole because she helps me at these events. But I'm like, look, like just give out business cards, even if they come and like look at some stuff, make sure they leave with a business card. So that used to
Yeah.
always be like my motto. Is like if I don't make money, as long as I gave out as much business cards as I can, because that could always lead to like a commission or just like something in the future
Hmm.
or a visit. But yeah, it sucks when like you don't get enough foot traffic in general. Like that's just bad promotion, really. Like that's not on
Yeah.
you. And also like
I
you're gonna what? No, no, no,
No,
no.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say um demographic. Like there
Oh, that's definitely something I've been like, yeah,
yeah.
just the kinds of people and what they're going to like. It's not always the kind of person I am and what I want to sell. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. So how do you
So,
intend huh? What?
nothing. I just was like, so right when you talked. So I don't know. It's been a really positive conversation.
Well, you know what this really is? Because I think about this all the time because because I run this podcast, but I've realized like when I have people coming back, it really is it really is just friends catching up. It's only when
Yeah.
like because like I yeah, I don't know, like I do like treat these like these revisits, like I really do treat them as like hangouts. Um it's only when like if it was like your first time, it kind of feels sort of like more of a formal interview. So there's
Yeah,
always like
I'm like incapable of being formal, so it's
well, like
you know.
I feel like sometimes I can kind of get in that zone where I'm a little more proper, a little more, not cursing as much, but I
Hmm.
prefer to just be like this. Aw. I was like,
He just
what?
keeps walking in front of me.
Oh, is it feeding
Hey,
time? Is it, are we,
it's I think go take a shit time, I is what I'm
oh
sensing.
no. So should we
Yeah,
close this out?
probably.
Okay, because
She's stressing me out. She's just like hot breathing on me.
oh
So
Jesus. Oh
yeah,
Jesus. Um,
and she's large.
man, I feel like we really just scratched the surface of like,
I know.
so if you ever want to come back again, we should
I will.
let's do this
We can do a
again.
part two. Part two to the part three.
Well, there is a quote I want to share because this is a segment I do now. I want to share one quick
Okay.
quote, and then if there's anything you want to plug, we can do that right after. But this quote that I have here is by Miyamoto Musashi from the Book of Five Rings. Sorry, I don't know why
Love
I'm laughing.
love him.
Um, wait, are you familiar?
No.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. Well, the quote
Mm-mm.
the quote says, "You can only fight the way you practice." Okay, so
Hmm.
just keep that in mind. All right. You're
Thank you.
probably like, I'm never gonna fight though. No.
Like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
Really?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I have no idea what it did. It just would have been funny if I was like, okay.
I was gonna say, man, everything all the quotes I've been sharing like have resonated to a certain degree. No, but
Yeah.
do you want to plug anything? Like plug your social media, of course, but anything.
All my stuff is at Jenna Davis Designs. My website is Jenna Davis Designs. I think that's even my TikTok, but I don't post on TikTok. So,
Okay.
um, and yeah, I think that's it.
And that is your Jenna Davis Designs is your handle, right? For Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Um,
It's my
did you
it's my
say that?
everything.
Sorry.
It's my yeah.
Okay,
I'm Jenna Davis, and then designs,
there you go.
Instagram, Facebook. I don't, but yeah, all that stuff.
Okay. I'll be sure to include all that in the show descriptions. Um,
Thank
all
you.
right, well, everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us for this very I don't even know how to describe this episode. We are really all over the place on this one.
For this
Um
30-minute episode,
no, no. I
you
mean
can join his Patreon to see the unedited version.
oh my goodness, yeah, right. I should restart my Patreon. But no, thank you for those who joined us on this very deep conversation. I will say that this was and this may be the most serious conversation you and I have had, which I think is a nice a nice step to take for us, taking our friendship to a next level, I'd like to think. But
Yeah,
be sure to visit the links down below. Follow, subscribe, wherever it is you are tuning in. And yeah, thank you again, Jenna, for doing this with me. And I hope
you're
we do
welcome.
this again sooner than later. Okay.
Yeah, we will. We will.
I'm gonna have to bug you. I'll bug you. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm here.
And yeah, everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay driven. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace out. Oh,
Are we done? I was like,
now the music will cue.